Chapter 1294. Huamin held up the slip of paper helplessly. Look, isn't it written here? Yang Merong immediately felt awkward. She was a bit hungry when she transferred the money, so she wanted to cook and then put the slip of paper on the coffee table. She thought she'd throw it away later, but she didn't expect Huamin to come at this time. So, she ignored it. Huamin knew that at his mother's age, she didn't know how to use mobile banking or transfer money online. The only way was to go to the bank and transfer money. The truth was, Huamin wouldn't ask about giving money to Yang Merong. After all, no matter how bad she was still his mother's niece. He remembered his mother saying that when Yang Xiaoping left, it was only right to give her some pocket money. After Yang Xiaoping left, his mother gave her an extra 5,000 yuan for living expenses. She was worried that Yang Xiaoping wouldn't have enough money to eat or sleep. Generally speaking, if a girl had 7,000 to 8,000 yuan on her, her food and accommodation should not be too bad. Even if her workplace didn't provide food and accommodation, she shouldn't have spent all her money in just a few days, right? Yang Merong was embarrassed by Huamin's question. She had no choice but to tell him the truth. Don't be mad. Xiaoping called me this morning and said that her new job doesn't provide food and accommodation, and they even deduct her deposit. She spent most of her money and ate something bad last night, so she went to the hospital. She asked me to lend her money and said that she'll pay me back when she earns more money. Huamin was a bit helpless. Mom, it's not that I don't want you to lend Xiaoping money, but I have a feeling that she might not be telling the truth. You shouldn't trust her so much. If she really was hospitalized and treated, we'd give her any amount of money. You don't have to lend her money, but is she really sick? Is she just using you as an excuse to ask for money? I don't think she's lying to me, right? The truth was, Yang Merong wasn't sure either. When her niece lived here, she was a bit lazy and didn't do much. Yang Merong even gave her 3,000 yuan a month, but because she was her niece, Yang Merong didn't mind. Now that her niece had asked for 10,000 yuan, she didn't even have any qualms. Thinking about it, she was too muddle-headed and didn't ask clearly. But let's leave it at that. If she asks for money again in the future, just say that you don't have it and ask her to transfer it to me. If she really needs money, I'll give it to her. But if she lies, I won't get a single cent. Huamin tried to persuade his mother. Yang Merong felt that her daughter had a point, so she nodded. Has Jixin called you recently? Yang Merong was a little disappointed. I did, but he seems to be very busy. He said that he won't be coming back for the spring festival and will continue his studies there. That's good too. It's rare for him to be so motivated. Boys should work harder and fight harder. Although Huamin missed Jixin very much, he didn't think it was wrong for Jixin not to come back. Instead, he was quite supportive of him. She stayed at her mother's house for a while and slept. That night, her mother made dumplings with celery and pork stuffing. Qin Chu happened to get off work and had dinner there as well. At 7:30 p.m., the two of them left Sky Blessing Court together. On the way, Qin Chu turned his head to look at Huamin and asked, "What did the master say today? Didn't Mom tell you? I want to hear it from you." Qin Chu's tone was infinitely gentle. Huamin looked out the window shyly. He said that we might have many children. How many is many? A football team? Do you think I'm a pig? How could I have a football team? Huamin laughed and punched Qin Chu's shoulder. Then, Mr. Qin asked in all seriousness, "Did the master say how many times a night is best for us?" Chapter 1295. Huamin chuckled and replied fiercely, 18 times. 18 times is too much. But 8 times I can still handle it, aren't you afraid of? Huamin looked at Qin Chu, amused. What's wrong with for my wife? Huamin immediately nudged Qin Chu. Mr. Qin was being dirty again. The two of them went back to South Hill Manor, showered early, and went to bed. The next morning, Huamin went to work as usual. When Zhu Lingling won the lottery, she started a conversation in the group chat. Zhu Lingling, girls, are you free tonight? I'll treat you guys to dinner. Jiang Xiaowei, did you hit the jackpot? Huamin, did you win the lottery? Jiang Xiaowei, did you find yourself a sugar daddy? Huamin, did your Captain Gao quit his job? Zhu Lingling, I'm just treating you guys to dinner. Do you have to be like this? Although I am different from you guys, I'm not some rich lady, but I'm not someone who can't afford to treat you guys to a meal. At most, we'll just pick a small place. Jiang Xiaowei. Okay. I'm bored to death at home. I want to go out. Anything is fine. Huamin, I'm not picky. You pick a place. Zhu Lingling, let me make it clear, I'm not bringing my family today. Every time I bring those guys, we can't have a private conversation. Jiang Xiaowei, I agree. It's better if we don't bring them. It's quiet. You don't have to squeak in my ear. Huamin, then I'll take a cab and leave Mr. Qin at home. Zhu Lingling, okay, I'll make a reservation. Send me the address when I'm done. Just come on time. In the afternoon, Huamin was busy with meetings and taking notes. At the end of the year, the hospital was also busy. There were a lot of patients every day. If the neurology department did not have a lot of patients, Huamin would go to other departments that he was familiar with. They were also quite desperate. Her mother-in-law kept telling her not to tire herself out and not to work too hard, but how could she be so free? When it was finally time to get off work, Huamin sent a WeChat message to Qin Chu, telling her that he was going out for dinner. Qin Chu only replied with one word, then continued to work overtime. Huamin took a taxi to the restaurant booked by Zhu Linglin. It was a famous kitchen fish restaurant in the city center. All of them liked to eat fish, so they had the same idea. When Huamin arrived, Jiang Xiaowei and Zhu Lingling had already arrived. The three of them were in a small private room on the second floor. The environment was very elegant. In the middle of the room, a large iron pot was simmering a large fish and various vegetables. The smell of it was very appetizing. My Mian gained weight. You have some meat on your face. Jiang Xiaowei smiled. Really, now that you mention it, I feel it too. What's going on? Did you gain weight? Zhu Lingling laughed. Huamin subconsciously pinched her own face. I'm preparing for pregnancy, so I eat a lot. Everything I eat is delicious. Aren't you afraid that you'll turn into a pig? What if Mr. Qin abandons you? Zhu Lingling joked. I'm not afraid. If worse comes to worst, I'll turn him into a pig and keep him company. Hey, you're so jealous. Mr. Qin isn't here, and you're still showing off your love to us, as if no one else is here, Zhu Lingling said proudly. Jiang Xiaowei laughed. When the three of them were together, the atmosphere was always lively. Hey, silly Ling, when are you getting married? You can't live together forever without getting married. Jiang Xiaowei suddenly thought of this question. Actually, after our last get-together, Gao Ran proposed to me that day. Jiang Xiaowei, wow? Why didn't you tell him? Huamin, you're hiding information from me, so I'll drag you out and beat you 30 times. Zhu Lingling, I already rejected him. Why would I tell you guys? You rejected him? Are you crazy? Jiang Xiaowei was shocked. You're joking. Why did you reject the proposal? Huamin was also surprised. Chapter 1296. Then, Zhu Lingling stopped smiling and looked at Huamin seriously. I told him that we shouldn't get married yet. It's not the right time yet. We'll get married when Mian is pregnant. Wouldn't that be a double blessing? After Zhu Lingling finished speaking, she immediately fell silent. Jiang Xiaowei also stopped smiling and looked at Huamin. She didn't say anything. After hesitating for a long time, she said to Zhu Lingling, Are you stupid? Why would you wait until I'm pregnant before you get married? If I don't get pregnant, you won't get married. I won't. I think I'll wait another year at most. Within a year, you'll definitely have a baby, and I'll get married for sure. Zhu Lingling was full of confidence. Did Gao Ran agree? Jiang Xiaowei asked tentatively. Yeah. What a good man. Jiang Xiaowei exclaimed. Huamin tapped Zhu Lingling's head with his finger. No one is stupider than you. But that's good too. Fortune favors fools. You'll definitely be very lucky, of course. I'm the fattest out of the three of us, but the fortune teller said that fat people are blessed, so I won't be worse than you guys, ha. Zhu Lingling laughed happily. Huamin was very touched. She didn't think that the fact that she didn't have a baby would affect her friends. Even Zhu Lingling was still waiting to see if she was pregnant with his proposal. It was really too touching. Sometimes, friendship was serious. When it was serious, it didn't lose out to love. Although love lasted for a lifetime, friendship lasted for a lifetime as well. A best friend may grow from a young age to a white-haired one. Huamin felt emotional and posted on his WeChat moments. Whether it's friendship or love, the most beautiful state is from spring and autumn to winter and summer, from young to old. At the same time, Huamin also updated his WeChat moments on Weibo. When Suyu refreshed his Weibo, he immediately saw Huamin's update. After a while, he slowly muttered to himself, "I didn't get to participate in your youth, but I'm willing to accompany you to the end in your future." "What do you mean, young Master Su? Are you trying to pester me?" Tang Chuan asked after hearing Su Yu's words. "No one will think you're mute if you don't speak." "Ha! I've exposed your thoughts. You've lost face, haven't you?" Su Yu didn't even respond to him. Instead, he came to Huamian's office. Early in the morning, he was lying on Su Yu's office's sofa and played mobile games on his phone. He was speechless. Most importantly, Su even have lunches at him. Not only that, but this guy didn't know his place and often attacked Su Yu. "Sai, to be honest, Lord Su, you should give up. Even I feel bad for your feelings for Huamin." "I feel sorry for you, really," Tang Chuan said as he played his mobile game. "I know what I'm doing." "What do you have to know?" "You've been down south with me for more than 20 days, and you're still the same. You haven't changed at all. You're happy for half a day when someone posts on Weibo, okay? Why do you have to do this? You can have any woman you want in your position. Why do you have to fight with Huamin to the end? Aren't you tired?" Su Yu opened his laptop and looked at the data as he slowly replied. "If you fall in love with someone and realize that person doesn't like you back, then you don't like them anymore and like someone else. Is that true love? How old are you? This isn't a kindergarten kid playing house. Do you think it's that simple? The most difficult thing in life is love. So many heroes have been wasted on beautiful women. I like Huamin. Who did I offend? I didn't break up her marriage. Am I as evil as you say? I don't understand. Why do you keep telling me to give up?" Chapter 1297. You're wrong. You're not evil. You're just pitiful that you can't get a response from her, Tang Chuan defended himself. Su Yu raised his eyebrows and said, "Pitiful? How come I don't think so? If Huamin immediately dumped Qin Chu and ran into my arms, that would be pitiful. If she betrayed Qin Chu for me, then she'll betray me for another man one day. If she was such a frivolous woman, then I wouldn't have fallen for her. The reason why I'm falling deeper and deeper is because I know her better. I know that because of the promise she made when she was young, she never left Qin Chu. She's even willing to live and die with him. Huamin is a great woman. A woman like her is worthy of me doing anything for her." Tang Chuan was speechless. "Okay, you win. You're always right." In the end, Tang Chuan stopped arguing with Su Yu. When it came to Huamin, not only Tang Chuan and Wei Liao, but even Lord Su and Mrs. Su couldn't say anything. Su Yu was already on the path of unrequited love. There was no turning back. Huamin's smile was a gift even to her. "President Su, the auditions are over. Mrs. Su is hosting a dinner party for the winner, runner-up, and runner-up. It's at White Jade Restaurant, 8 p.m. Remember to be there on time." His assistant and carefully explained, "I got it." Su Yu nodded and went back to work. Tang Chuan's interest was immediately piqued. He stood up and put away his phone. Then he walked up to Su Yu and gossiped, "Huh? Auntie Su, you're really something." Although the harem selection wasn't held on a large scale, it was still held from 20,000 people. "I've long heard that the top 3 are all beauties who can cause the fall of a city. How about?" Before he could finish, Su Yu understood what he was thinking and raised his head to look at him. "You can come with us tonight." "Really? Really? Then, will Auntie kill me?" Tang Chuan was a little hesitant. "Even if I die under a peony, I'll still be a romantic ghost." "Huh, you're right. Then I'll wait until tonight to be with you. You pick first and the rest are mine." Tang Chuan was very proud. "Are you still taking Chinese medicine recently?" Su Yu suddenly asked. "That's why." Tang Chuan was a little confused. "Well, Let's nourish your kidneys first. Tang Chuan, who said that Su Yu wasn't two-faced? When his mouth was poisonous, it would infuriate people to death. Su Yu was very conflicted about his mother's concubine selection. He always felt that it was very childish. He originally wanted to stop it, but his mother found Huamin at the last minute as reinforcements, so he couldn't do anything. He also promised Huamin that he would fully cooperate with this matter, so he definitely had to attend tonight's banquet. 8 p.m., Su Yu brought Tang Chuan to the banquet on time. In a private room on the top floor of White Jade Restaurant. There were bodyguards guarding the door. Lady Su also did a very good job of keeping it a secret, afraid that the media would report it. When Su Yu entered, he saw 3 girls sitting next to his mother. You're here? Lady Su was very happy to see her son. The 3 women all looked over at the same time. After seeing the girls' faces, Tang Chuan was a little surprised. The 3 chosen out of 20,000 people weren't devastatingly beautiful. In fact, they couldn't even be described as beauties. Young Master Su. The 3 girls greeted in unison. Su Yu nodded and walked over. Chuan, you're here too? Mrs. Su smiled. Hello, Andy. I was out with him on some business and didn't eat, so I came over. It's fine. Sit down. Lady Su was extremely generous. After Su Yu and Tang Chuan sat down, Lady Su immediately introduced them enthusiastically. This is 3rd place, Yao Tingting, this is 2nd place, Zhang Junya, and this is our champion this time, Bai Jingjing. Bai Jingjing? Isn't that the name of the white-boned spirit in Journey to the West? Tang Chuan didn't think too much about it. This caused the girl to look very awkward as well. You, what do you think? Lady Su's words were also very straightforward. She wanted her son to pick a good one out of the 3. Chapter 1298. Pretty good, they're all pretty good, Su Yu said, which was rare for him. Tang Chuan, Mrs. Su, you, then, which one is the best? Mrs. Su continued to ask straightforwardly. All 3 are good, why don't you keep them all? They're all really good. Su Yu looked down, took out his phone, and said casually as he scrolled through his WeChat moments. Mrs. Su, Tang Chuan, ahem. Lord Su, although your dreams are great, reality is harsh. It's good to have ideas and daring, but our China's constitution currently doesn't allow polygamy, Tang Chuan explained. These words were exactly what Lady Su wanted to say, although it was a good thing that her son was interested in them. However, he couldn't ask for all 3 at once. Polygamy? You guys are thinking too much. I mean, all 3 of them can sign under Imperial Star. It just so happens that our company is filming a harem drama and needs a lot of women. I think the 3 of them are very suitable. Lady Su, Tang Chuan, the 3 beauties also had awkward expressions on their faces. Didn't they say that they were going to pick a wife for Lord Su? Why did they end up talking about signing with Imperial Star? Looking at the 3 beauties' confused faces, Su Yu took out the contracts that he always carried with him from his bag. This is the rookie contract. Take a look. If you like it, want to enter the entertainment industry, or are interested in acting, you can sign it. If you don't want to act, you don't have to sign it. I'll compensate you with another sum of money. I won't let you participate for nothing. Young Master Su, you misunderstood. We didn't participate for the money, the champion, Bai Jingjing, explained gently. The other 2 beauties also agreed in unison. Yeah, we don't want money, you don't have to give us money. Then do you want to act? Not really, we didn't go to acting school, and we don't want to enter the entertainment industry. We only participated because... Bai Jingjing swallowed the words that were about to come out of her mouth. But what? Su Yu looked up and glanced at the woman. You just thought that Lady Su would choose a girlfriend for you, so? Su Yu, am never short of girlfriends. There are more than 300 actresses under Imperial Star, and I don't think they're bad. If I wanted to pick, I would have done it a long time ago. I can produce 3 actresses like Jian Tong in a year. As for you guys, I've given you the contract. Again, if you don't want to sign the contract, you can ask for other compensation. This is my assistant's contact number, you can tell him. After speaking, Su Yu got up and left. Lady Su was a bit angry. She chased after him and shouted in the hallway, "Suyu, stop right there." Lady Su loved her son very much, so she rarely called him by his full name. It was obvious how angry she was right now. When Suyu heard his mother's voice, he stopped in his tracks. Tang Chuan had been following Suyu closely. When he saw how angry his mother was, he also moved to the side and didn't dare to say anything. "What do you mean by this? Explain to me. We were clearly choosing a girlfriend for you. You agreed to cooperate. How did you become a rookie?" Lady Su suppressed her anger and questioned Suyu. Chapter 1299. I didn't want to find a girlfriend to begin with. This is your idea, not mine. It's already good enough that I'm willing to cooperate. Suyu didn't think much of it. So I'm playing with those girls? Lady Su was furious. No, not only did you play with them, but you also played with me. Suyu looked at his mother and enunciated each word clearly. Lady Su's face gradually darkened upon hearing this. Suyu continued, I originally thought that you might choose someone with good looks for me, but I underestimated your ability. Look at those three. They all look like Huamin. You really put in a lot of effort to find a few out of 20,000 people? But is there any point in doing this? Am I, Suyu, reduced to this? I can't get the original, so I have to find a substitute? Don't you think that's sad? I'm doing this for your own good. Lady Su didn't expect to make Suyu unhappy. She originally thought that Suyu would be happy to see a woman who looked like Huamin and would fall in love with her. She didn't expect him to fly into a rage. No, you're not doing this for my own good. This is an insult to me. You're old, don't worry about me. You should worry about your own life in your later years. I'm a disappointment. I've disappointed you. After speaking, Suyu turned around and left. Lady Su called out with tears in her eyes. However, Suyu still didn't look back. Everyone had different personalities. Huasiqian would be infatuated with a woman who looked like Huamin and couldn't help himself. However, Suyu knew very well that there was only one Huamin in this world. He was unique and irreplaceable. If he couldn't get what he wanted, he would find an imposter to replace it. That would be the most ridiculous and stupid thing to do. That night, Suyu didn't go home, nor did he go to the nightclub, nor did he go back to the company. He returned to his private villa. Tang Chuan was afraid that he would be in a bad mood, so he followed him. Suyu was a nostalgic person. After selling the old villa, he renovated it. It was exactly the same as that one, and the decoration was in the style of an aquarium. The moment he entered, he felt as if he had entered an underwater world. All kinds of tropical fish swam overhead and around every day. There were even many details here that were exactly the same as that villa. Tang Chuan was really shocked. Suyu had only moved into this new villa less than a week ago. It was also his first time here. I thought I walked into your previous home, Tang Chuan muttered to himself. Do you drink? So what if I don't drink? Get lost if you don't want to drink. I'll drink it then. Thus, Tang Chuan and Suyu carried out 2 cartons of beer. Taking out some snacks from the fridge, the two of them drank until dawn. Suyu's mood was unprecedentedly bad. It was really bad. The girl he liked told him to find a girlfriend. His mother told him to pick one. Was he, Suyu, such a loser? Tang Chuan, tell me, do I have any hope of being with Huamin in this lifetime? Suyu sat on the floor and leaned against the sofa. He looked at the little fish swimming around above his head and sighed. Are you telling the truth or lying? Tang Chuan seemed to still be clear-headed. Of course I'm telling the truth. If I'm lying, I'll say, you'll definitely have a chance, you can definitely do it. If I'm telling the truth, I'm afraid it'll be impossible. To be honest, looking at the current situation, even if Qin Chu dies, Huamin will probably be buried with him immediately. So, your chances are really slim. Do you know why I change women faster than I change clothes? I'm afraid that if I truly fall in love with someone, I'll be dead for sure. Love can really make a person wish he was dead. I'm really scared, so I'd rather not get married for the rest of my life. Although Tang Chuan didn't have the heart to say it, he still said it. Suyu didn't say anything. He held the beer and sighed softly. Actually, sometimes I think, Even if I have to give up 10 years of my life, I want to be with her for a short period of time. Even if it's a short period of time, I want to live with her for a while. I want to see her smile every day, take care of her, that way. Su Yu said what he wanted to say the most. He still wanted to be with Huamin. Even if only memories were left, he would be satisfied. So? Do you want us to team up and try to make Qinchu suffer? Then Huamin might be pressured into coming to you for a while. However, the premise is that you, me, and Old Wei must all work together. Only then will we have a chance of beating GK to the brink. Tang Chuan gave the best idea. Chapter 1300. That's a good idea. Su Yu nodded his head repeatedly. Tang Chuan excitedly walked up to Su Yu. Hey, Lord Su, let me tell you the details. When the time comes, will... Before Tang Chuan could finish, Su Yu interrupted him. But that's too troublesome. Who knows how long it'll take? Why don't we ask my grandpa to send a secret agent down to assassinate Qin Chu and end everything once and for all? Su Yu said in all seriousness. That's not a bad idea, but killing someone is a bit. Tang Chuan seemed to have a lingering fear. You have two choices now. 1. Get out of my house immediately. 2. Get out of my house immediately. Tang Chuan was speechless. What kind of stupid idea is that? Su Yu, am a righteous man. Why would I need to resort to such despicable means? Huamin will look down on me. Even if I want to defeat Qin Chu, I won't use such despicable means. I'm worse than a woman. Do you think I'm Huasiqian? Su Yu was infuriated. Although Tang Chuan was doing it for his own good, what kind of stupid idea was that? How could he accept it? Moreover, compared to being with Huamin, he valued Huamin more than anything else. Therefore, he definitely wouldn't use any underhanded means to deal with Qin Chu. Business competition was also a good thing. Su Yu didn't want to be looked down on by anyone, especially Huamin. Lord Su, please calm down. I was wrong. If that's the case, then why are you still so conflicted? Just fight Qin Chu fair and square. Even if you lose, you'll be fair and square. If you win, you'll just be lucky. Tang Chuan laughed. Su Yu was so angry that he immediately gave Tang Chuan a headshot. What a bad friend. Su Yu and Tang Chuan chatted and drank. That night, they drank all of Su Yu's beer. They even drank 2 bottles of good vintage red wine. The next day, Tang Chuan blacked out. He lost his memory. He couldn't remember what happened yesterday at all. On the other hand, Su Yu was so awesome that he woke up at 7 a.m. and drove to Imperial Star's headquarters for a morning meeting. This was the difference between an awesome person and a noob. Tang Chuan felt like he would never be able to reach Su Yu's level in his lifetime. Worship. When Su Yu walked out of the morning meeting, his assistant, Shaoan, walked over and reported, President Su, the top 3 beauties selected by Madam have contacted me separately. 2 of them said that they want 2 duplex apartments under Imperial Star Real Estate. Each one is worth more than 3 million yuan. Here you go. Su Yu was extremely generous. He always thought that anything that could be solved with money wasn't a problem at all. Su Yu's mother had tricked Su Yu and Su Yu, so it was only right for Su Yu to compensate her with a house. After all, Su Yu had passed all the difficulties and stood out from 20,000 people. As for what they looked like, Su Yu really couldn't remember. He had drunk too much last night. However, he knew that the 3 women all had one thing in common. They all looked like Huamin. This also showed that Lady Su really put a lot of thought into this. She was willing to go to this extent to please her son. And one of them said she wants a car. What car does she want? I'll buy. Su Yu nodded. She wants your black Lamborghini 6th Element. Su Yu said with a trembling voice. Su Yu, on the other hand, was slightly surprised. His black 6th Element, which he had been driving for a long time, was a limited edition Lamborghini and was worth a lot of money. The most important thing was that Su Yu had feelings for Su Yu for several years. Tang Chuan wanted to buy it a few times, but Su Yu refused to sell it, let alone give it away. Who wants my car? Su Yu raised his head and looked at his assistant curiously. Chapter 1301. It's the Champion, Miss by Jingjing. Oh, that white bone demon. Su Yu didn't remember anything else, But he remembered that this was the name of the white bone demon in Journey to the West, so it was especially easy to remember. And tell her that if the sixth element doesn't work, I can buy her a new Lamborghini. And nodded and left. Suyu was puzzled. What was wrong with young girls these days? How could they ask for someone's favorite thing as soon as they opened their mouth? It seemed like only Huamin was the best. She never stole other people's favorite things. Thinking about Huamin, Suyu's gaze became gentle again. Monday morning, the 4S store sent back the repaired Audi R8 yesterday. Huamin was as happy as a child. She touched the car on the left and right. She really loved this car. Even if she bought another one, she wouldn't be as happy. This was a gift from Qin Chu. It was also a car that both of them loved. Huamin and Qin Chu were both Audi fans, so they kept a low profile. Compared to Lamborghini, Maserati, and Porsche, this brand wasn't as ostentatious. After getting the car back, Huamin could drive to work by herself. After the morning meeting at the hospital, Huamin began to see patients. She saw more than 10 patients in one morning. She really went all out. At noon, she worked overtime until 12:30 p.m. to organize the patient's information. When she finished, the restaurant was already out of food. She was debating whether to eat bread or order takeout would be more comfortable. Just then, she saw Huasiqian walking over. He was holding a lunchbox in his hand. "Workaholic, you don't have anything to eat, right?" Huasiqian chuckled. "How did you know?" Huamin stared at Huasiqian. She really didn't like how Huasiqian always acted like he knew everything. It made her feel very insecure. "Your assistant said so." "I haven't eaten yet either. I bought a lunchbox. Let's eat together?" Huamin wanted to refuse. Huasiqian continued, "Why do you think the vegetarian dishes at Sufangzhai are so delicious? It's vegetarian food without any oil or meat, but it still tastes delicious." "Bought food from Sufangzhai?" Huamin swallowed his saliva. "Then, let's eat together." Huamian surrendered without any backbone. Together with Huasiqian, they took the lunchbox to the office. Sufangzhai had been open for many years, and it was a restaurant that specialized in vegetarian food. It would be full on the 1st and 15th day of the lunar month, as well as some Buddhist festivals, and people would have to line up, because the vegetarian food was delicious. Sufangzhai's name originated from a very popular TV series, Princess Pearl. At that time, Princess Pearl lived in a place called Sufangzhai. Later, the restaurant copied the name Sufangzhai, and it was really delicious. However, because it was located in a very remote location near Wanshou Temple in the northernmost part of the city, the road there was very difficult to walk on, and the air was poor. There was also black smoke from factories everywhere, so Huamin rarely went there. She didn't expect Huasiqian to drive to such a place for takeout. The round trip would probably take 2 hours. That was why she said he was a pervert. Inside the office, Huamin lowered his head and ate silently without saying anything. Huasiqian ate while occasionally looking at Huamin. Every time he ate with Huamin, he would feel unusually happy. Even if he didn't say anything, he wouldn't feel awkward. Other than Huamin, no one else could give him a sense of security. The truth was, Huasiqian was someone who was even more insecure than Huamin. Since he was young, he had to look at other people's faces, and he knew that nothing belonged to him. To his biological parents, he was already an outsider. To the Hua family, he was still an outsider. Therefore, his cautiousness when he was young trained him to be extremely shrewd and calm that didn't match his age. In terms of being calm in the face of danger, he was very similar to Huamin. They were the kind of people who would remain calm even if Mount Tai collapsed in front of them. To put it bluntly, no matter what happened, he would always maintain a high level of arrogance. This was the aura of a king that most people didn't have. Huasiqian naturally removed the word sister, which actually made it easier to say. "Yeah." Huamin raised his head reflexively. Chapter 1302. Are you going to Snooker's celebrity night? I don't know yet, it depends on Qin Chu. If he's going, then I'm going. Huamin decided to be Mr. Qin's doormat for the rest of his life. Qin Chu will definitely go, because the host is a famous Chinese tycoon, Mr. Li. This time, he invited celebrities from all walks of life, and it's a bit of a competition. Famous entrepreneurs and celebrities are all invited. Oh, isn't it just a game of pool? Is it really that big of a deal? Huamin wasn't really interested in business dinners. It's not as simple as a game of pool. The winner will get a 3-year contract with Jinjiang Corporation. What do you think? Huamin looked at Huasiqian in disbelief. How can someone be that crazy? Using a game of pool to decide a business partnership? Mr. Li loves to play pool. He thinks that playing pool is like being a human being. Only those with patience will succeed, so Huasiqian didn't finish his sentence, but the result was obvious. Oh. Huamin nodded and continued eating. Mian, so, if I beat Qin Chu on snooker night, will you hate me? Huasiqian's question was extremely childish. It was completely out of line with his usual IQ. Why would I hate you? Huamin suddenly smiled. Huasiqian was mesmerized by Huamian's smile. Huamin rarely smiled at him so casually. Snooker is all about skill. Whoever is better wins. I can't hate everyone just because someone beat Qin Chu. Your logic is really weird. That's good. Huasiqian smiled and then lowered his head to continue eating. After dinner, Huasiqian elegantly wiped the corner of his mouth and got up to leave. Wait a second. Huasiqian turned around with one hand in his pocket. Well, you often give me gifts, face masks, eye masks, and so on. Occasionally, you even bring me a bento. I don't like to owe others. I know that you won't accept money even if I give you money, so I plan to give you something as well. For me? Huasiqian was a little surprised. He thought that Huamin would always accept everything he gave with a clear conscience, so he was satisfied. He didn't expect that this girl would actually think of returning the gift. In fact, Huamin didn't want to owe anyone anything. He always felt that politeness demands reciprocity. When others treat you well, this is friendship. Not everyone should treat you well for granted. Huamin then took out a beautiful brocade box from the drawer. He placed it on the table. Haven't you been having trouble sleeping and headaches lately? I custom-made an eye massager for you. I always thought that headaches were mostly caused by eye fatigue. When you wear this massager, you can listen to music. The music inside is good for sleep. Also, I prescribed some medicine for you. It's all Chinese medicine that can help you sleep. There are no side effects, so you can take it without worry. If you don't believe me, you can ask a professional doctor to examine it. Huamin knew that Huasiqian was a suspicious person and didn't trust others easily. When Huasiqian looked at the massager and medicine that Huamin prepared, for the first time, he felt something warm flowing through his heart. He had never felt this magical feeling before. He slowly walked back and picked up the massager and the small medicine bottle. Then, he gently looked at Huamin. This is the best gift I've ever received. Thank you. You're welcome. I'm just returning the favor. You've given me so many things before. They're worth a lot. Huasiqian took the things and walked out. Huamin had mixed feelings. She wasn't someone who trusted others easily. When Huasiqian gave her eye masks, she didn't dare to use them. She even asked someone to identify the ingredients. It turned out that they were high-end skincare products under the Hu Corporation and were sold on the market as usual. There were no problems. Therefore, Huamin suddenly felt that Huasiqian might not be hostile towards her. Therefore, after thinking for a long time, she still felt that she should return the favor. That way, she would feel more at ease. Otherwise, she wouldn't have any reason to accept all the gifts he kept giving her. In this world, only when Qin Chu treated her well could she accept it without any psychological burden. Because to her, Qin Chu was already her entire life. At night, Huamin and Qin Chu sat across from each other at home for dinner. Honey, we're both invited to snooker celebrity night this Friday. Do you want to go with me? Chapter 1303. Huamin slowly raised her head. What if I don't want to go, and I don't want you to go? Qin Chu gently smiled. Then neither of us will go. The night is long, and we can do some warm-up exercises at home. Mr. Qin's words were so subtle that even Huamin blushed. Did that mean she was no longer pure? What are you talking about? Who wants to do warm-up exercises with you? Don't you feel ashamed? Huamin covered her blushing face and accused Mr. Qin. Mr. Qin looked at her innocently. Honey, it's cold outside. Why wouldn't you feel ashamed to do some exercise and warm up at home? It's exercise? Huamin lowered her head. What do you think? Qin Chu asked with a mischievous smile. Huamin pretended to be an ostrich and buried her head in the plate, not saying another word. Qin Chu felt like his wife was too shy. She was always too shy to face the matters between men and women. That wouldn't do, he needed to educate her properly. After a while, Huamian raised her head, coughed, and said, Ahem. I'm just kidding. Snooker is pretty good. Let's go and play some pool to relieve our boredom. Whatever you say, honey. Huamin had already heard from Hua Xiqian that the snooker celebrity night wasn't just for celebrities to play pool. Most importantly, it was hosted by Mr. Li, a Chinese tycoon. The purpose was to choose a business partner. Mr. Li's Jinjiang Group had businesses all over the world. Who wouldn't want to work with such a powerful company? Huamin was just asking casually. She knew that Qin Chu really cared about her opinion and never cared about business. However, the more he cared about her, the more she wanted her husband's business to be successful. That way, she would feel a sense of accomplishment. Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye, Friday arrived. After Huamian got off work, she drove straight to GK as usual. GK's stylist dressed her up, and the two of them went to the hotel where the event was held. In this late winter season, most female celebrities and socialites would wear fur coats when they attended banquets. Huamin was a person who rejected fur, so why would he still wear a down jacket? No, it wasn't appropriate to wear casual clothes in an event like this, so Huamian wore a suit. Like Qin Chu, she chose a black Korean-style mid-length suit with a buttonless cardigan. The material was high-end and thick, and the workmanship was exquisite. The hair was simply blown dry by the hairstylist. It turned into a fluffy version of Bobo, which was especially cute. She wore black crop trousers, black diamond-studded heels, and a medium-length black suit with a white lining. Coupled with the light nude makeup, she immediately looked like a different person. She had a special temperament and was extremely refined and refreshing. It was the first time Qin Chu saw Huamin dressed like this, and a trace of surprise flashed across his eyes. Who said that his wife wasn't a beauty? In his eyes, all the women in the world added together couldn't compare to Huamin. Only when he saw her would his cold aura immediately warm up. His sharp gaze would become as gentle as water. A young lady's aura completely beats all the other female celebrities. Yang couldn't stop praising her. This guy was a bit of a straight man, so he didn't like women who wore revealing clothes. However, in recent years, this kind of dressing was popular. They would either show off their shoulders or their waists, or they would wear low-cut. However, he noticed that a young lady always dressed conservatively, but she wasn't old-fashioned. He had told his wife more than once that a young lady's dressing was amazing. Yang's wife would faintly say, "You have to be as awesome as President Qin first, then you can tell me what to wear." "Hey pretty lady, are you free tonight?" Qin Chu walked over and looked at Huamin, making a rare joke. Chapter 1304. I don't have time. I'm going to play snooker with my husband. Qin Chu smiled and put one arm around Huamin's shoulder. Under the gaze of the employees, they walked out. The employees behind them looked at them with envy. I used to think that a young lady wasn't stunning enough and wasn't good enough for our president. But now, I realize that a young lady's temperament is amazing. She's not afraid of anything and can even support our president. A high IQ is indeed different. Yes, our young lady is the type that's easy to look at. She's not like some women who look good at first glance, but become uglier the more you look at her. A young lady is the type that looks normal at first glance, but becomes more and more interesting the more you look at her. I'm starting to think that our president and his wife are a good match. Yeah, I've seen people online saying that our president should marry Miss Song, but I feel like Miss Song doesn't make people feel comfortable looking at her. It's like she's not real. Anyway, I think a young lady is pretty good. She's not a busybody and is quite forgiving. She won't interfere with the company's business and is quite independent. There was a saying that time could always reveal a person's true nature. This saying was true. When news of Huamin and Qinchu's marriage was first announced, many people didn't understand Qinchu and didn't think highly of Huamin. Now that so much time had passed, more and more people began to like this low-key and capable girl. The entrance of Kempinski Hotel, when Huamin and Qinchu arrived, the media surrounded them and took photos. Then, they let them go and walked down the red carpet. Huamin's outfit this time also caused a huge commotion. Actually, she chose it herself. The stylist really wanted Huamin to wear an evening gown because it was more elegant. However, Huamin thought that she might be able to play basketball on the court like Qinchu. Wearing an evening gown was too inconvenient. She couldn't perform at all, therefore, she jumped around and thought that wearing a suit would be more dashing. In the end, she inadvertently became the most popular fashion trend of late winter. During a live broadcast that day, a fashion channel's host and a guest from the fashion industry had this conversation. Host: Miss Kai, which female celebrity's outfit was the best at tonight's snooker celebrity night? Kai, I can't tell what a female celebrity looks like. Most of them are wearing new gowns sponsored by luxury brands. I've seen most of them at European fashion shows, so I won't comment. However, I'm impressed by the young madam of GK. Host: Oh? Suits trended this year? Her outfit was simple, elegant, and elegant. She was elegant's outfits, his smart's pick, and elegant s's. Elegance, t-tissest. Indeed, Huamian's simple outfit became the center of attention. This made her feel very embarrassed. People kept taking photos of her, and in the end, she had to hide behind Qinchu. Like a little girl, she shyly hid behind the person she liked. Qinchu lovingly held her hand. President Qin, may I ask if I can take a picture with your wife? A socialite came out of nowhere and stood in front of Huamin and Qinchu like a fan. Huamin awkwardly took 2 steps back. To be honest, this wasn't the result she wanted. She was just here to join in the fun with her husband. She didn't want to become the topic of conversation. Chapter 1305. Qinchu could tell that Huamin was trying to avoid her, so he slowly refused. I'm sorry, my wife doesn't like to show her face. Okay then. The socialite moved to the side, a little disappointed. Huamin, on the other hand, lowered her head and quietly followed behind Qinchu, as if she was afraid that someone would notice her. Not far away, the Song sisters were furious when they saw what was going on. Huasiqian hated Song Yisher, so she would rather go in alone than with her. In the end, Song Yisher had no choice but to go with her cousin, Song Yishuan. The Song sisters were dressed very luxuriously. They wore evening gowns that cost more than 100,000 yuan, accompanied by a red and white fur coat. Song Yisher loved the color white and always liked to dress up like a fairy. It was as if that made her look more like a goddess. However, despite how well they dressed up, they still didn't become the center of attention. Instead, Huamin became the center of attention. His black suit instantly captured everyone's attention. Huamin is the most disgusting woman in the world. She's so fake. She always acts like she's innocent, but she's actually very scheming. She saw that we were all wearing evening gowns, so she purposely came up with something to attract attention. What a scheming bitch! Song Yishuan cursed. Whatever, let's avoid her tonight and don't cause any trouble. Song Yisher was a little annoyed, but she didn't forget to remind her cousin. After all, they lost the car race. She had to fulfill her promise to them, and wherever Huamin appeared, the Song sisters had to stay away from her. Song Yisher wasn't stupid, so she wasn't stupid enough to go up to Huamin and humiliate her. Song Yishuan could only insult Huamin. She didn't have the guts to go up to him. Su Yu arrived a little late. He came in with Tang Chuan. He didn't bring any of GK's female artists with him. The stars from GK and Imperial Star entered the venue in pairs. They were all there to promote their new movies. Ni Yang and Mo Shui came in together. Annie Liang and Jiang Yi entered together. Jian Tong and Cotton Candy entered together. Wei Liao went in alone because Jiang Xiaowei wasn't there. Where's Xiaowei? Huamin was a little curious. This kind of occasion was quite interesting. Jiang Xiaowei should be here. She's not feeling well. She probably ate something wrong. She's been feeling nauseous, so she's resting at home. Are you all right? Do you need to go to the hospital? Huamin was a little worried. She said she'll be fine after resting for a while. I've already hired a private doctor to check on her. That's good. Huamin nodded. You guys go ahead. I'll go check on Lord Su. After that, Wei Liao parted ways with Huamin and headed straight for Suyu. Suyu actually saw Huamin as soon as he walked in, but he couldn't keep staring at people, so he could only look elsewhere. However, this seemed a little pretentious. Lord Su, stop pretending Huamin is over there. Do you want to go say hi? Wei Liao walked over with a glass of wine in his hand. It's okay. Suyu felt like if he had to go say hi, Qin Chu would be embarrassed, Huamin would be embarrassed, and he would be embarrassed as well. So, he might as well not go. Then, Mr. Li arrived, and the atmosphere reached its climax. After Mr. Li's speech, he announced that snooker night was about to begin. The host announced the elimination rules. They would draw lots to choose their opponents, and whoever won 3 rounds in a row would advance to the finals. After the finals, the 2 players would compete against each other, and the winner would be chosen. The winner would sign a contract on the spot. Qin Chu didn't actually care if he could work with Mr. Li or not. He was only here because Mr. Li had already met with him before. Qin Chu only came because Mr. Li admired him and hoped that he could participate. He was giving Mr. Li face. So, he didn't want to win like he did at Venice Cruise Night. During the draw, Suyu suddenly raised his hand in front of everyone. I forfeit. Lord Su. Wei Liao and Tang Chuan said in unison. They didn't expect Suyu to forfeit before the game even started. Huamin was also a little surprised. She looked at Suyu through the crowd. Chapter 1306. Presidency Goes. Even the MC was clearly in a dilemma. What? Can't I? Suyu asked domineeringly. No, it's not that you can't. I just think it's a pity. Mr. Li, I've heard that President Su is a good player, but I'm not in the mood to play tonight. Suyu sucked on a lollipop that he got from God knows where. His attitude was extremely arrogant. This Suyu was like the Suyu that Huamin first met. He was extremely arrogant and insolent. Oh, then I'll now announce. President Su of Imperial Star has voluntarily forfeited. After the MC made the announcement, no one had time to think about it. The competition officially began, and many people signed up that night. These rich people all wanted to try their luck. What if they won? It was a chance to work with Mr. Li for 3 years. However, most of the participants were men. Very few women were good at billiards, especially the difficult game of snooker. Therefore, after Huamin signed up and went on the court, he realized that there were less than 10 women in the competition. However, the Song sisters were among them. This wasn't strange, as the sisters were always the type to go wherever there was a need. They were always afraid that they wouldn't be able to attract attention. Huamin was used to it, but why did Suyu forfeit? This wasn't in line with his personality at all. Confused, Huamin went on the court with his cue stick and began the 3 rounds of elimination. Tang Chuan and Wei Liao both went on the court, so they didn't have time to ask Suyu why he forfeited. Suyu sat calmly on the side like a spectator, watching others play. After 3 rounds, Wei Liao and Tang Chuan came down during halftime. Lord Su, what's going on? Tang Chuan asked. Why did you forfeit? This isn't your style. Wei Liao was also puzzled. Suyu calmly picked up an apple and took a bite. I just don't want it to be the same as last time. After Tang Chuan and Wei Liao heard this, they looked at each other and immediately understood. Then, Suyu continued. She definitely wants Qin Chu to win, so if I go up and win, she'll be disappointed. If he loses, then there's no point for me to go up. I don't want to be cannon fodder. At the end of the day, you're still afraid that if you beat Qin Chu, Huamin will be angry, right? Tang Chuan was a little frustrated. You can't say that. Huamin isn't such a petty person. I think Lord Su doesn't want to end up in a PK with Qin Chu like last time. After all, Huamin will always be on Qin Chu's side. There's no need to torture himself like that. Suyu nodded. The few of them immediately understood what was going on. After 3 rounds, Only 20 people advanced to the next round, and they were divided into 10 groups. The next round was one-on-one PK, and they were free to choose their opponents. Song Yishuan was already eliminated, so Song Yishu advanced to the next round. This wasn't surprising. Huamin thought that Song Yishu would definitely choose her, but to her surprise, she didn't. Song Yishu calmly glanced at her and said, "I choose Ni Yang." The truth was, Song Yishu wasn't stupid. She had suffered too much at the hands of Huamin. Later on, she concluded that Huamin was indeed a smart woman. No matter what she did, she was very good at it. Plus, since Huamin dared to take the initiative to participate, it meant that she wasn't an ordinary person. Although Song Yishu played well, she still didn't want to lose to Huamin in front of so many people. That would be really embarrassing. Ha! Ni Yang only said 3 words in response to Song Yishu's provocation. From Ni Yang's perspective, Song Yishu chose him because she was afraid that she couldn't beat Huamin. But was he someone who was easy to bully? Then, Ni Yang walked past Huamin with a pool cue and said in a low voice, "Sis, wait for me. I'll avenge you. I'll definitely torture Song Yishu to death." Ni Yang's words made Huamin not know whether to laugh or cry. Just as she was lamenting Ni Yang's words, she suddenly heard a man's voice say, "I choose Huamin." Chapter 1307. Huamin turned his head in surprise and saw that it was Jiang Yi. Jiang Yi was a complicated person. He came all the way from Jing City just to work with Qin Chu and enter the European and American markets. However, a few days ago, he signed a huge contract with Imperial Star and became GK's rival. Moreover, he shamelessly challenged a young lady of GK. This was a mystery. Huamin didn't care. He would fight whoever he fought. Therefore, she walked over with a pool cue in her hand. Annie Liang and Jian Tong were rivals, and they would compete with each other wherever they went. Especially in recent years, Jian Tong had become more popular, so Annie Liang was jealous of her. Unintentionally, these two rivals were paired together. On the other hand, Tang Chuan and Wei Liao were paired with some older celebrities. In the end, only Huasiqian and Qin Chu were left. Huasiqian walked over with one hand in his pocket and smiled. "President Qin, let's have a match?" His tone was gentle, but his eyes were challenging. Qin Chu knew that Huasiqian seemed to have been waiting for this opportunity for a long time. He seemed to have wanted to have a match with him for a long time. However, Suyu had always been there, so he hadn't made a move yet. Faced with Huasiqian's challenge, Qin Chu only replied with one word proudly. "Okay. Show me what you've got. I want to see if the man Mian likes is as good as he seems." Huasiqian sneered. Then he picked up his cue stick and walked past Qin Chu. The 20 people had an exciting match on the 10 tables. There were more than 500 people watching from all walks of life. There were also countless people watching in front of the TV. Although it wasn't as formal as the professional snooker players, it was still exciting. Jian Tong and Annie Liang's sparks flew as soon as they started. They looked like they were going to eat each other up. However, the truth was that they weren't very good. The only reason they were able to advance to the next round was because their opponents were too focused on their beauty to play, so they lost. Everyone knew that the most interesting players were Huasiqian and Qin Chu. The whole corporation wanted Mr. Li's 3-year contract. GK wanted it too. Qin Chu didn't say anything, but he didn't want to lose to Huasiqian. As a spectator, Suyu didn't feel any pressure and just watched calmly. However, unlike others, he didn't care who would win, Huasiqian or Qin Chu. He wanted to see Huamian play basketball. He had never seen her play so well before. It was at this moment, it was the right decision. Qin Chu, Huamian, Qin, and Qin, Jian Tong and Annie Liang were in formal wear, so their postures were limited and they couldn't play to their fullest potential. For example, in evening gowns, when they lowered their heads, their cleavage would be exposed. Their postures weren't good either. The same went for Song Yishu. Huamin, on the other hand, was very steady as soon as the match started. She hit 3 balls in a row, and all of them went in. Jiang Yi didn't even have a chance to make a move. When Huamin hit a difficult ball, she gestured in a few directions, but she didn't think it was safe enough. In the end, she used a pole vaulting method. She had the white ball jump up and hit the target ball with one ball between them. Then, it slowly entered the hole. Just then, the camera in front of the TV swept over them. Everyone watching couldn't help but clap. The live commentators were also very excited. Lady Qin's skills were amazing at the beginning. On the fourth ball, she used a difficult pole vaulting method. It was so beautiful. Su Yu stared at Huamin without blinking. His eyes were filled with unconcealable love and admiration. So, Huamin, you're not going to save any face for me? Jiang Yi rubbed his nose and helplessly asked with a smile. He liked Huamin, so he didn't want to work for Qin Chu and signed with Imperial Star. He signed her up to play because he wanted to have more opportunities to spend time with her. However, he didn't think that she would be this good. She didn't save any face for him. If this continued, the match would be over before he even got on the court. Because Huamin was going to clear the table. Chapter 1308. Huamin calmly glanced at his face. I don't know you that well, why should I give you face? Jiang Yi was speechless. Huamin was the type of person who didn't leave any leeway for others. With one sentence, Jiang Yi was rendered completely speechless. To Huamin, Jiang Yi was a complete stranger. Whether he signed with GK or not, it had nothing to do with her. Huamin played billiards when he was young, and later he learned about snooker. However, he didn't practice it on purpose. A few years ago, he would occasionally play a few rounds with Zhu Lingling. He didn't think that he would still be good at it. Jiang Yi wanted to take this opportunity to interact with Huamian and say a few words to her during the break. However, to his surprise, this girl cleared the table in just a few moves. She didn't give him a chance. In a game like this, whoever started first had a higher chance of winning, so for the sake of fairness, the players were decided by drawing lots. In the other group, Song Yisher was quite lucky. She was the first to go on stage. However, her skills were far inferior to Huamin's. After 2 shots, she missed the third one. Although Ni Yang wasn't an expert, he was more than capable of dealing with Song Yisher. That was why he dared to promise Huamin that he would help her torture Song Yisher. You're actually quite an interesting person. You're afraid of losing to my sister and embarrassing yourself, so you chose me to be your punching bag, right? Unfortunately, my skills are just a little bit better than yours, so just wait for me to torture you. Before Ni Yang started playing, he said this to Song Yisher. She was so angry that her face turned pale. However, Ni Yang was a man of his word. He didn't give Song Yisher a chance to retaliate and slowly cleared the table. Song Yisher was wearing an evening gown and a fur shawl. She stood on the side like a flower vase. Cousin, how could you make such a mistake? Now they've got the chance. I'm so worried. Song Yishuan was anxious but couldn't do anything to help. Jian Tong and Annie Liang had similar skills, but Jian Tong had a higher EQ, so she always said things that made people angry to provoke Annie Liang, causing her to make mistakes. Do you think you can sit back and relax after going to GK? Unfortunately, President Qin doesn't like you, so you won't stand a chance even if you go. Anyway, you're useless at Imperial Star, and President Su doesn't like you either. If I were you, I would have retired from the entertainment industry a long time ago. After all, I'm getting old. Jian Tong said with a smile. Liang Annie was so angry that her hands were trembling. She gestured for a long time, but she still hadn't scored a single goal. On the other hand, Jian Tong had already scored 2 consecutive points. Huaxiqian had actually planned to meet Qin Chu in the finals. However, he suddenly changed his mind. He felt that it would be more interesting if he eliminated Qin Chu now. He could really take away his limelight, so they met in the 10th group. When Qin Chu came today, he thought that he would be at odds with Su Yu, just like last time at Venice. However, to his surprise, Su Yu forfeited, and Huaxiqian took the initiative to provoke him. However, he wasn't too surprised. Huaxiqian had been hostile towards Qin Chu for a long time. He could clearly feel that. At the same time, he also felt that Huaxiqian didn't have good intentions towards Huamin. Qin Chu was much more cautious against Huaxiqian than he was against Su Yu. He knew that Su Yu was a straightforward person and wouldn't play dirty. However, Huaxiqian was different. He was capable of anything. There were some things that others didn't know, but he knew. Rick's men had been keeping an eye on Wuxia, even though they didn't have any concrete evidence. However, he definitely had something to do with Hu Jinghai's death. However, Qin Chu didn't tell Huamin about this. He didn't want Huamin to worry, nor did he want Huamin to get involved in this smoke-filled battlefield. Qin Chu was very lucky. He drew the starting line, so his hands were very smooth and he scored 5 consecutive points. At this rate, the table was going to be cleared, and Wuxia was going to lose for sure. Just as Qin Chu was about to score the 6th point, Wuxia lowered his head and whispered in his ear, "I heard that you've been investigating Mion's background." Chapter 1309. Qin Chu's hand trembled slightly, and the force of his shot deviated a bit. Then, the ball almost stopped at the hole. It didn't go in. Qin Chu made a mistake. Everyone in the audience sighed. They all thought that Qin Chu would be able to beat Wuxia. Damn, what's going on? Qin Chu only got his 6th shot. Tang Chuan, who had just finished his game and returned to the resting area, was obviously disappointed by Qin Chu's mistake. "I think something happened," Wei Liao analyzed. Su Yu turned around and looked at the slow-motion replay on the big screen, and he slowly said, "I don't know what Wuxia said to Qin Chu, but he got distracted. Something that could distract a 1,000-year iceberg like Qin Chu. It must be something important, right?" Tang Chuan guessed. "Could it be something to do with Huamin?" Wei Liao added. Su Yu didn't say anything, but he already knew the answer in his heart. Over the past few days, he couldn't say that he understood Qin Chu's powerful opponent very well. However, he knew one thing, and that was that Qin Chu only cared about Huamin. That was something that nothing could compare to. Therefore, Wuxia's words must have something to do with Huamin. Otherwise, someone as steady as Qin Chu wouldn't get distracted so easily. Huamin was in the middle of a game when he heard the audience gasp. She couldn't help but look up at the big screen. Huamin was a bit surprised when he saw Mr. Qin make a mistake. How is that possible? She had experienced Mr. Qin's skills before. When they were dating in high school, they would sometimes skip class and go out to play. They would occasionally go to the billiard hall. Back then, when they played, everyone in the hall would come and watch. Because he played too well, when they were young, it was inevitable that they would show off their skills. Everyone was flabbergasted. For Qin Chu, as long as he was given the opportunity to start, he would definitely clear the stage. There was no doubt about it. But why did he make a mistake? When Huamin was distracted, he also made a mistake. The ball did not go in. Jiang Yi finally had a chance to turn things around. "Wow, you made a mistake." Jiang Yi smiled proudly. Huamin turned around and glanced at his face. "Even if I make a mistake, you can't beat me." That confident? Jiang Yi stared at Huamin's face with interest. "Because you don't have the ability to clear the table?" Huamin sneered. Huamin's disdain angered Jiang Yi's pride as a man. He was more than 10 years older than Huamin and was considered a superstar of the older generation in the entertainment industry. Even a big shot like Mo Shui treated him with respect. But now, he was being mocked by a little girl. Jiang Yi was furious. He gripped the pool cue tightly, aimed, and exerted force. In the end, he was disappointed, but the ball did not go in. This was within Huamin's expectations. Huamin was a neurologist and often dealt with neurological patients. He was similar to Jiang Shaowei and was especially good at analyzing people's minds. She purposely disdained Jiang Yi and angered him, causing him to lose his composure and lose his game. It was a psychological tactic, unlike Wuxia's. Wuxia's was a despicable threat. He knew that Qin Chu cared about helping Huamin find out his background, but he still brought it up at a time like this. Jiang Yi and Huamin are basically going to win. Huamin is going to crush him, Tang Chuan analyzed after taking a sip of water. Wei Liao looked to the other side and smiled with his arms crossed, and Ai Yang is also going to crush Song Yisher. Finally, when it was Su Yu's turn to summarize, he said in all seriousness, "Qin Chu is going to lose, Wuxia is definitely going to win." No way? Wei Liao and Tang Chuan clearly didn't believe him. Chapter 1310. Just watch, Wuxia is playing mind games. He's grasped Qin Chu's weakness and will keep attacking. Wei Liao and Tang Chuan had always thought that Su Yu and Qin Chu were on the same level. Hua Xiqian was on a lower level than the two of them. That was why they had always underestimated him. They thought that he was just a rich man who relied on his status as an adopted son to get rich. However, Su Yu didn't think so. He had known Hua Xiqian for 3 or 4 years now. They weren't good friends, but they were quite familiar with each other. They would often run into each other at nightclubs and drink together. Su Yu had long known that this person was ambitious. He wasn't as simple as he seemed on the surface. Today, he took the initiative to provoke Qin Chu, which meant that he was confident in winning. Although Su Yu said so, Wei Liao and Tang Chuan still had some doubts. This was because Hua Xiqian's skills weren't very good. At most, they were decent. However, compared to the supermasters like Hua Min, Qin Chu, and Su Yu, he was still quite a distance away. As expected, Hua Xiqian couldn't play after 2 shots. The ball deviated from its course. It was still quite a distance away from the hole. The ball once again fell into Qin Chu's hands. He picked up the pool cue, regained his prestige, and began to make consecutive shots. However, as expected, Hua Xiqian didn't stop talking beside Qin Chu's ear. "You better stop investigating, it won't do Mian any good. It seems like you know everything." Qin Chu wasn't surprised because he and Hua Min had already guessed that Hua Xiqian knew about it. "Yes, I do know a lot. So?" Qin Chu raised his eyebrows and looked at Hua Xiqian. "So, do you want to consider losing to me? Maybe I'm willing to say more." Hua Xiqian smiled confidently. On the other hand, it was a 3-year contract with Mr. Li. On the other hand, it was the mystery of Hua Min's birth. How would Qin Chu choose? Needless to say, it was definitely the second one. Because in Qin Chu's eyes, nothing could be more important than Hua Min's matter. Therefore, he deliberately tilted the ball and missed it again. Hua Min, who wasn't far away, couldn't help but feel nervous when he saw Qin Chu's repeated mistakes. What was Hua Xiqian up to? Why did Mr. Qin keep making mistakes? This was absolutely impossible, unless his emotions were affected or he lost on purpose. Amidst the questioning voices, all 10 groups were finished. When the results were announced, everyone was surprised that Qin Chu actually lost. "Oh my God, Lord Su, you're a fortune teller. It's just as you predicted." Tang Chuan exclaimed that Su Yu's guess was spot on. Su Yu calmly looked at the scene. It was exactly as he predicted. The remaining 5 people were Hua Xiqian, Ai Yang, Hua Min, Tang Chuan, and Jian Tong. However, in terms of points, the other 3 completely lost. Hua Min was far ahead, while Hua Xiqian beat Tang Chuan by a hair's breadth. This made Tang Chuan very unhappy. He couldn't stop cursing. "Forget it. You know that if it weren't for Hua Xiqian's tricks, and if Qin Chu advanced, you wouldn't have made it to the final round either." In the end, it would still be Qin Chu and Hua Min, Wei Liao comforted him. At the critical moment of the competition, only Hua Xiqian and Hua Min were left. This pair of brother and sister in name were at each other's throats. "Hey, guess who's going to win? I think Hua Min's going to win. That girl is really good, she cleared the entire stage." Someone said, "I think Hua Xiqian's going to win. He beat Qin Chu, he's really something." There were all kinds of comments. Hua Min was afraid that Qin Chu would be in a bad mood, so she walked over in front of everyone. She wrapped her arms around his waist and said coquettishly, "Honey, don't be sad. I'll win it for you in the final round." Hua Min thought that Qin Chu was sad because he was worried about Mr. Li's contract. Chapter 13:11. Don't feel too pressured. Just do your best. I don't care about Mr. Li's contract. Qin Chu gently stroked Hua Min's hair by her ear, his tone extremely gentle. He really didn't care. If it weren't for Mr. Li, he wouldn't have even come. Why would he care about the contract? He was distracted just now because he wanted to help Mian find out the truth about her background, because this was the biggest knot in Hua Min's heart. So many people were watching, but Qin Chu and Hua Mian acted as if no one was around. It was as if they only had eyes for each other, which made the host very envious. People have been saying that President Qin is a henpecked man, and it seems like they're not baseless. Although President Qin lost to President Hua, he was able to get the safety of his beloved wife. I have to say, it's a blessing. I heard that Qin Chu and Huo Mian were childhood sweethearts. They were so passionate when they were in high school. Someone whispered in the crowd. Yeah, I heard about it too. They were both students at second high. Lady Qin was the top scholar of her year and got into second high with the highest score. She's awesome. I also heard that they broke up for some reason and President Qin went abroad. But when he came back, he immediately married Lady Qin. Look at them, this is true love. Not many people can be together with their high school sweetheart. Everyone chimed in one after another. This was the first time Huo Min was so shameless as to act coquettishly with Qin Chu in front of so many people. She smiled at Qin Chu, afraid that he would be in a bad mood, so she kept trying to make him laugh. Huo Min is too much. She's torturing us in public in such a formal setting. Tang Chuan complained. She's not torturing us, she's torturing Lord Su. Wei Liao said in all seriousness. Su Yu seemed to be used to their teasing, so he didn't say anything. However, when Huo Min hugged Qin Chu with both hands and acted coquettishly, he subconsciously looked away. That scene was too beautiful. He couldn't bear to look, although he already knew that Huo Min didn't belong to him. Seeing her in Qin Chu's arms, blossoming gentleness, he still felt a dull ache in his heart. After coaxing Mr. Qin Chu for a while, the time was right. Huo Mian changed her cue stick and returned to the ultimate PK stage valiantly. So many people were watching their final showdown. Huo Xiqian was as he's. Back then he's, teet, she's S's, teet, that made it even easier for him. Mian, you have to go easy on him later. Huo Xiqian didn't know when, but he stopped calling Huo Mian little sister. It was just too simple, Mian, but he felt warm every time he called her that. Huo Min quietly glanced at him. Don't worry, since we're both Huas, I won't let you lose too badly. Upon hearing this, Huo Xiqian smiled brightly. He liked how unbridled Huo Min was, as if he was the only one who could do it. From afar, Song Yishe observed Huo Xiqian's expression. She suddenly said with a complicated expression, when he's facing Huo Min, his entire person changes. Chapter 13:12. Song Yishe was right. Although Huo Xiqian usually smiled, it was just a fake smile. It never came from his heart. He was a person that no one could see through, and no one knew what he was truly thinking. Just like how he wasn't excited at all even though he was in control of the whole corporation. It was as if everything was meant to be his. However, when he faced Huo Min, he was different. Song Yishe used to think that Huo Xiqian and Huo Min were working together and using each other. However, just now, she carefully observed Huo Xiqian's micro-expressions. She was shocked to discover that this wasn't the case. Did Huo Xiqian put in so much effort to set up this big show? Was it really for Mr. Li's 3-year contract? It was hard to say. Maybe it was for something else. Huo Xiqian looked at Huo Min with such an honest and warm smile that Song Yishe was shocked. To Song Yishe, Huo Xiqian was the devil. However, to Huo Min he was a nice guy. Huo Xiqian's signature on WeChat was very special. In the past, Song Yishe only thought that he wrote it casually. However, she felt that it was different now. There was a saying, don't ever get to know me from other people, because I'm not the same to everyone. Could it be that? Huo Xiqian and Huo Min? Song Yishe wasn't sure. Cousin, what's wrong? Song Yishuan asked curiously when she saw her cousin's strange expression. I just had a crazy idea. What idea? Song Yishuan was even more curious. I'm not sure yet. I have to see the results of the competition. Song Yishe thought that if Huo Xiqian really liked Huo Min, then the winner of this competition was already set. Huo Min would definitely win. However, if Huo Xiqian cared more about benefits, then he would definitely think of a way to win against Huo Min. If he wanted to deal with someone, he had thousands of ways to deal with them. Even someone as calm as Qin Chu was about to break down because of him. Dealing with Huo Min was something that could be done in a matter of minutes, right? The question was, did Huo Xiqian want to deal with Huo Min? This was the key question. After analyzing the situation, Song Yishe suddenly felt like the finals. Therefore, she paid more attention to their micro-expressions. Qin Chu took a small sip of his champagne and watched the scene calmly. He didn't know how Hua Xiqian would deal with Hua Mian. Woods to Hua Min's Huazes, Hua Min's Hua Xiqian would get the 3-year contract. However, Qin Chu had the same thought as Song Yishe. He didn't think that Hua Xiqian's goal was to win against Hua Min. Therefore, the outcome of the competition was uncertain. Lord Su, let's bet on big or small. I'll bet on Hua Min, Tang Chuan laughed. I'll bet on Hua Min too, Wei Liao quickly added. After 5 seconds of silence, Su Yu calmly said, I'll bet on Hua Min too. Fuck. All 3 of them are betting on the same thing. What's the point? There's no stakes. Don't tell me you guys don't think Hua Xiqian will win? He's the dark horse that beat Qin Chu. Tang Chuan deliberately led them on. Then you can bet on Hua Xiqian. Su Yu didn't mince words, Tang Chuan. Because the 2 of them were in the finals, they attracted a lot of attention as soon as the game started. Hua Min was unlucky and didn't get to start. Therefore, Hua Xiqian had the right to start the game. He picked up a pool cue and casually started the game. It was just like playing billiards, without any pressure at all. However, the atmosphere in the stadium was extremely tense. At the center of the stage, an old man with a serious expression suddenly asked his assistant, "What's the background of the little girl that's going up against the president of the Hua Corporation?" Chapter 1313. President Li, that's the wife of GK's CEO, President Qin. His assistant was smart enough to do a thorough investigation. Apparently, when Mr. Li wanted to invest in Sea City, he did a lot of research on famous people. He was the most interested in GK because the CEO was too young. Of course, Su Yu from Imperial Star was also one of the best. However, Su Yu was only in the entertainment industry and didn't cover a lot of people. Therefore, Mr. Li was more inclined to work with Qin Chu, which was why they met before the game. They had a great conversation. Mr. Li was over 60 years old, and he became one of the richest men in China because he had met countless people. Qin Chu, on the other hand, had a high IQ, a high EQ, and a good upbringing. Mr. Li admired him a lot. Although they just lost the game, Mr. Li wasn't disappointed. Mr. Li smiled when he heard that President Qin's wife was the last to enter the finals. "It seems like this couple isn't simple at all," Mr. Li commented with a smile. After Hua Min went on the court, he no longer smiled at Qin Chu. While Hua Xiqian was playing basketball, Su Qingsang watched his tactics and playstyle attentively. Hua Xiqian wasn't that skilled. After making 2 consecutive shots, the third one was in a difficult position. He only missed by a little bit. Hua Min's chance came. This girl would clear the table as soon as she got the chance? I thought I was the worst, but it looks like Hua Xiqian is even worse than me. Jiang Yi laughed at Hua Xiqian's misfortune. The Mo Shue'er, on the other hand, was calm. What's so bad about him? This is all part of his plan. He likes to play everyone in the palm of his hand. That's what he enjoys, so he doesn't care if he wins or loses. Mo Shue'er sneered. She loved Hua Xiqian too much, so she knew him too well. He didn't care about the result at all, but rather the fun of the game itself. Mo Shue'er's heart sank when she saw Hua Xiqian smile at Hua Min. Even when she slept with him, he refused to give her such a warm smile. It was as if she was just a tool for him to vent. Once he was done with her, he didn't need to look at her again. So, compared to Hua Min, she was the most pitiful, right? I'm sure you want your boyfriend to win, right? Jiang Yi asked Mo Shue'er with a smile. Well, at least I'm better than your untouchable goddess. Mo Shue'er mocked. Jiang Yi was speechless. Mo Shue'er had always referred to Hua Min as a goddess because Jiang Ye's heart was itching for her. Not to mention touching her, he didn't even have the chance to talk to her. For a character like Jiang Yi, Hua Min was someone on the altar, too far away. Even a big shot like Su Yu had to step aside, let alone a small character like Jiang Yi. She felt that she was a big shot, but in Hua Min's world, she was the lowest of the low. She didn't even need to think about how to torture him, it could be done in minutes. Everyone quietly watched the match. Hua Min was calm and collected, neither arrogant nor impatient. One after another, for people entered the arena. This finals is boring, there's no suspense at all. It's basically Huamin bullying Huasiqian, Tang Chuan yelled. Not necessarily. The best part is yet to come. I'm afraid that Huasiqian is going to do the same thing again. If he can mess up Qin Chu with a few words, then Huamin might do the same. Wei Liao was smart as he analyzed Huasiqian's tactics. Now, let's see if Huasiqian has the heart to do anything to Huamin, Wei Liao continued. Su Yu was a little nervous as he watched. He picked up his bottle of water and took a big gulp. Then he quietly watched Huamin, who was wearing a black suit and looking so neat and tidy. Just as Huamin was aiming for the fifth ball, Huasiqian suddenly bent down and said something. When Qin Chu saw this, his expression changed slightly. He was afraid that Huasiqian would use the same method to deal with Huamin. His worst fears came true. I really want to know what Huasiqian said to make Huamin's face darken. Tang Chuan stood up excitedly, gossiping. Chapter 13-14. Even Qin Chu was nervous. He didn't know what Huasiqian said to Huamin. Maybe it had something to do with Huamian's identity. Huasiqian leaned over and whispered into Huamin's ear. His words easily made Huamin's face darken. What he said was, Min, 7 years have passed, and you're still at A? Haven't you gone through puberty yet? Huamin never thought that Huasiqian would say something so frivolous in a situation like this. Plus, she was already at B, okay? Huamin coldly retorted, When did you go blind? Huasiqian. Then, Huamin ignored Huasiqian and continued to play the ball calmly, one shot at a time without a single mistake. The balls of all colors went into the hole in order. Finally, the black ball made a beautiful spin. After the black ball spun a few times, it rolled steadily into the hole. Then, the audience erupted into applause. Tisk. It's so embarrassing to lose to a girl like you. It's not embarrassing to lose to the champion. You're the runner-up after all. Huamin's words were infuriating. Huasiqian didn't know what to say with that one sentence. Song Yisher's face gradually darkened. I knew it. That's what he was thinking. Song Yisher clenched her fists so tightly that her knuckles turned white. She finally understood. Huasiqian didn't like her, but he set her up to marry him. It was all because of Huamin. In the past, she thought that Huasiqian and Huamin were driven by their own interests. That was why they set her up. Now, it seemed like Huasiqian was a love-struck type. He liked Huamin. In order to avenge Huamin, he married her and brought her home to torture her. At this thought, Song Yisher was furious. She felt blood rush to her head. Huasiqian. Huamin, I won't let you go. I'll make you die a horrible death. Song Yisher swore to herself. Su Yu finally let out a sigh of relief when he saw that Huamin had won. It was as if he could only feel at ease after Huamin's zzz. Leaked, there's nothing left to watch. Su Yu didn't want to watch anymore. He just wanted Huamian to win. So, he turned around and stood up. Wei Liao and Tang Chuan followed behind him. Mr. Li was obviously very happy. When he presented the trophy, he even took a picture with Huamin and Qin Chu. A young lady of GK won first place at the snooker celebrity night. This news took over all the major media outlets in the city. She just wanted to do her husband a favor, but she didn't expect it to be so high profile. President Qin, you're so lucky to have such a great wife, Mr. Li praised. Qin Chu hugged Huamin's shoulder lovingly. Thank you, Mr. Li. I heard you guys have been together since high school? Yet, though we've been together for many years. Qin Chu's words made it sound like they had been married for a long time. Huamin smiled slightly and leaned into Qin Chu's arms, enjoying the joy of victory. I'm looking forward to working with GK for the next 3 years. Me too, let's wait and see. Qin Chu elegantly shook Mr. Li's hand. After the game, on the way home, Qin Chu lovingly patted Huamin's head. Honey, thank you for your hard work. It's nothing. Huamin playfully winked. Tsk. My great wife is so mighty, it seems like I'll have to live off of you from now on. Qin Chu laughed. No problem, I'll take care of you. Huamin was very emotional. The two drove all the way back to South Hill Manor. When they were almost home, Qin Chu asked tentatively, Mian, What did Huasiqian say to you when we were playing? Chapter 13:15. He's a pervert. He said that I haven't developed over the years and that I'm still an A, Huamin said as he looked down at his not-so-sexy bunny. Qin Chu was speechless. That's it? Qin Chu raised his eyebrows. Yeah, if it weren't for the fact that I was playing a game, I would have beaten that shameless guy to death with a golf club. He even said that I haven't developed yet? What a joke. I'm at least from A to B now. Then, Huamian pulled down her collar and looked inside. Qin Chu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. However, Huasiqian didn't say anything, so he was relieved. He didn't want Huamin to think too much, but what did Huasiqian mean by that? Why didn't Huamin want to investigate further? Huasiqian knew the truth, but he never mentioned it. Why did he keep it a secret for so many years? Could it be that her biological parents were shameful? Gangsters? Drug lords? Qin Chu's imagination ran wild. Honey, what are you thinking about? I'm thinking, to refute Huasiqian's words, I'm going to have to personally examine you. Qin Chu said in all seriousness. Examine what? See if you're an A or AB. Qin Chu couldn't help but smile. Huamin was speechless. But don't worry, this can be changed. I'll try my best to make you AC within a year. Huamin was speechless. So, Mr. Qin, can't we just have a nice conversation? Huamin was completely speechless. He thought Qin Chu was joking. Who knew that Mr. Qin would do as he said and return home to South Hill Manor? He didn't even let her eat. Instead, he carried her into the bedroom and carefully examined her. Then his hands went all over her body, and Huamin fell into her hands once again. She was so spineless that she couldn't resist Mr. Qin's lingering kiss. She basically couldn't find her bearings anymore. By the time they were done, it was almost 11 p.m. After showering, Huamin leaned on Qin Chu's shoulder. Honey, I'm hungry. Huamin pouted as she protested. Still hungry? Didn't feed you? Damn it. I didn't mean I'm hungry. Huamin couldn't help but hit Mr. Qin's dirty. Qin Chu smiled, got out of bed, and put on a bathrobe. What do you want to eat? I'll make it. Just let the kitchen prepare it. You're quite tired, so don't cook it yourself. If my wife wants to eat, I have to make it myself to show my sincerity. Please order. Vegetable noodles will be fine. Huamian was starving. Was. Teet this ate. When they came back, Mr. Qin was so immoral that he directly carried her upstairs to fuck her. Therefore, she didn't have any energy left. She lay on the bed and didn't want to move. Her stomach was still protesting. By the time Qin Chu came up with a bowl of hot noodles, Huamin was already asleep. Her sleeping posture was extremely unsightly. She was lying on the edge of the bed, exposing her entire back. She was really tired. She played a few rounds in one night and won the championship. His girl was always so outstanding. She didn't do much, but when she did, she shocked everyone. Qin Chu quietly put the noodles on the bedside table and carefully carried her back to her original position. Then he covered her with the blanket. If time could stop, he would want to be frozen in this moment forever. Qin Chu felt that ever since he married Huamin, he became a lot more fragile. He didn't dare to imagine what it would be like to lose Huamin. He already saw her as a part of his life, a part that he couldn't live without. It was December 28th on the lunar calendar, because most of the doctors at Southside were on vacation. Huamin decided to spend the last day of her shift, and then celebrate Chinese New Year. What she didn't expect was that the first patient who came in that morning was, the moment the door opened, the person who came in almost made Huamin scream out loud. Chapter 13:16. Sis? I missed you so much. With that, Jing Jixin pounced on Huamin and gave him a big bear hug. Huamin was dumbfounded. Then, she punched Jixin and cried, Brat, didn't you say you were busy with school and wouldn't come back? If I didn't say that, how could you be so surprised? Huamin was truly surprised. Thinking about how long it had been since she last saw Jixin, there were a few times when she couldn't help but want to fly to New Zealand. However, first of all, she was busy with work and didn't have that much time. Second of all, she felt that Jixin wasn't a child anymore and didn't need to worry so much. If she was too nervous, it would make him feel stressed. A month ago, when the siblings video called, Jixin said that he wouldn't be coming back. Because there was no Chinese New Year overseas, there was no special holiday. Jixin was quite busy with his studies and didn't want to delay it. Huamin thought that was fine too. After all, boys' studies were more important. Therefore, he wanted to discuss with Qin Chu that he wouldn't go anywhere during the Chinese New Year and would stay at home with his mother. Otherwise, his mother would inevitably be very lonely. However, he didn't expect this kid. The brother and sister hugged each other tightly like that. For a long time, they couldn't bear to let go. Huamin doted on Jixin very much since he was young, even though he later found out that he wasn't related to him by blood. It didn't affect their strong sibling relationship at all. Jixin wasn't as naughty as some boys who always got into trouble or asked his sister for money. Instead, he would find ways to work and earn money to share his sister's burden, so Huamin was even more gratified. "Sis, don't cry. It's so embarrassing. How old are you?" Jixin let go of Huamin and raised his hand to wipe away Huamin's tears. He hadn't seen his sister in a long time, and as soon as he saw her, he started crying. "I really missed you," Huamin choked out, then let go of Jixin and looked at him up close. Jixin was wearing a navy blue jacket, dark blue jeans, and white tennis shoes. He was carrying a black backpack on one shoulder, and he looked very youthful. "You little brat, you've grown taller." Huamin looked at the 19-year-old Jixin, who was already 1.78 meters tall. He was a whole head taller than her, and Jixin looked even more manly. She was different from when she left. At that time, she was still a little immature. It seemed that a lot had changed in the past few months. When she left, Jixin was devastated by Huang Yu's death. Huamin had reluctantly sent his younger brother away, allowing him to train and grow on his own. Now, it seemed that this decision was the right one. Huamin was overjoyed by Jixin's return. She poured a cup of hot water for Jixin, then pulled him aside and started asking him questions. For example, was it cold in New Zealand? Are you used to it? Did you sleep well? Were you bullied? Jixin chuckled at her question. What are you laughing at? Be serious. When I first arrived, you asked me these questions every day. Can you stop beating around the bush? I'm completely used to the weather and time difference in Australia now. The air is great, and my English is improving by leaps and bounds. How long will you be staying this time? Huamin smiled at Jixin. About 10 days. I'll be back soon. Classes are tight there. 10 days is good. Mom will be so happy when she knows you're back. Huh, I'm not home yet. I'll go straight to Southside as soon as I get off the plane. How did you know I was on duty today? Huamin suddenly thought of this serious problem. Because I talked to my brother-in-law. He told me. The people who picked me up at the airport were also from his company. Great. This guy dared to lie to me with you. I'm going to teach him a lesson when I get back. Huamin thought that Mr. Qin was too much. How could he not tell her that Jixin was coming back? He made her cry. He was too much. Huh? You've gained weight. You have meat on your face. Do you have a baby? Jixin looked at his sister's round face. Chapter 13:17. Baby my ass. No. I really didn't. No, you're working so hard. Sis, I really want to be an uncle. That's not up to me, okay? Why don't you ask your brother-in-law to work harder? Huamin was furious. However, Jixin's next sentence was even more infuriating. I did, and he said he's already working hard. Huamin was speechless. Mr. Qin, you're such a pervert, you'll be a bad influence on the kids. Huamin was overjoyed when Jixin returned. He only worked half a day and left in the afternoon. He drove Jixin home. When they arrived, Yang Meirong was cleaning the house. She was wearing an apron and mopping the floor with a mop. She didn't even turn around when she heard footsteps. Mian, aren't you supposed to be on duty today? Why are you here? Jixin stood at the door and called out. Yang Meirong's body trembled and she quickly turned around. I'm back. Jixin's tall and handsome figure stood there with a smile. Yang Merong's eyes went from shock to joy and tears. She seemed to be even more excited than Huamin. Little brother is back, aren't you going to say something? Why are you standing there? Huamin snickered. Only after Huamin reminded her did she realize what was going on. She immediately threw away the mop and rushed over. She threw herself into her son's arms. Zhixin, why did you suddenly come back? I was going to come back for Chinese New Year. I didn't tell you guys because I wanted to give you and sis a surprise. Zhixin hugged his mother. This kid really makes me worry. Yang Meirong was so touched that she couldn't help but cry. The mother and son hugged for a while. When Yang Meirong came back to her senses, she immediately rushed into the kitchen to prepare lunch. Zhixin opened his suitcase and began to organize the gifts he brought back. Sis, this is for you. You have a gift? Are you that happy? Huamin smiled as he took the beautifully wrapped rectangular box from Zhixin's hands. It's a local perfume from New Zealand. Although it's not a famous brand, it smells really good. It's all natural. Foreigners like to talk about natural and non-irritating. Thank you, brother. Huamin was obviously very happy. She even took out her phone to take a picture of it as a memento. Then, Zhixin took out a scarf and placed it on the sofa. This scarf is for Mom. It's pretty. I saw a few of my classmates from China get one for Mom. Not bad, you brat. Now you even know to bring us gifts. Huamin sighed. There's also my brother-in-law's. I'll give it to him when he comes for lunch. What is it? Let me have a look. Huamin leaned over. I want to keep it a secret. Zhixin quickly closed the box. Stingy, I'm stingy. Bite me. The siblings started acting childish. Huamin suddenly felt like they were back when they were little. He and Zhixin would chase each other around the yard of their old house. So many years had passed in the blink of an eye. The house had changed, the job had changed, and the people had changed. The only thing that didn't change was their relationship with Zhixin. Yang Meirong was very happy today. She made 16 dishes for lunch. There were dishes that Huamin, Zhixin, and Qinchu liked. Qinchu arrived just in time for lunch. As soon as he walked in, Huamin rushed over and pushed him to the bathroom. Wash your hands, wash your hands. Qinchu smiled but didn't say anything. He followed Huamin to wash his hands. Inside the bathroom, Huamin pretended to be angry as she pointed at Mr. Qin and asked, Zhixin is coming back. If you knew, why didn't you tell me? Am I still your wife? Are you still my husband? Chapter 13:18. But, you're still my brother-in-law, Mr. Qin said in all seriousness. Huamin, brother-in-law, come here, I have a present for you, Zhixin yelled from the living room. Qinchu took the opportunity to escape from his wife's questioning and turned around to go to the living room. Zhixin took out a small square box from his suitcase and handed it to him. Brother-in-law, this is for you. Thank you. Qinchu took the present and slowly opened it. Huamin also curiously came over to take a look and temporarily ignored the fact that her husband knew about the gift. Lying in the box was a very exquisite lighter. It was a local brand from New Zealand. The workmanship was exquisite, and it was all metal and silver. The picture on it was a pair of angel's wings. On the back was an English logo. This is windproof. A lot of backpackers use it when they go camping. It's very practical. Is it waterproof? Huamin interrupted. Zhixin angrily flicked Huamin's head with his finger. Sis, are you out of your mind? This is a lighter, how can it be waterproof? If it's not waterproof, then it's not a good lighter. I thought it was some weird thing, how uncreative. Zhixin rubbed his nose, put one hand on his waist, and then crooked his finger. Ms. Huamin, please give me back my perfume. I won't give it back. Then, Zhixin and Huamin chased each other around the spacious living room. Zhixin caught his sister and pinched her face. Huamin, who was being ravaged, seemed to be quite happy. Qinchu sat on the sofa and rested his head on one hand. He watched the siblings play with each other, and his heart was filled with happiness. Finally, Huamin was tired. Huamin wrapped her arms around Zhixin's neck and took a photo. The two sisters smiled brightly, especially Huamin, She rarely laughed so recklessly, but it was very beautiful. It seemed like anyone who saw the photo would be in a good mood. She posted the photo on her WeChat and Weibo. There were only 8 words in the caption. Once brother and sister, forever brother and sister. Wow, Zhixin's back. He's even more handsome than before. I told you I wanted to be your sister-in-law, but you said I was old? Zhu Lingling teased. Huamin replied to Zhu Lingling, you're not just old. More importantly, you're crazy. I'm afraid you'll harm the little fresh meat. Zhixin replied to Zhu Lingling, Sister Ling, don't mess around. Gao Ran replied to Zhu Lingling, I'll be home in half an hour. We need to talk. Zhu Lingling replied to Gao Ran, Uncle Policeman, I'm just playing with that kid. Don't take it seriously. Huamin replied to Zhu Lingling, who asked you to show off? Serves you right. Huamin replied to Gao Ran, you can use force to deal with him, don't show him any mercy. Gao Ran replied to Huamin, don't worry, I won't show any mercy. Zhu Lingling, Mr. Qin, come out and control your family's troublemaker. She's trying to sow discord. Qin Chu replied to Zhu Lingling, sorry, I can't control her. She's always been the head of my family. Zhu Lingling, look up at the sky and sigh, where's the justice? Zhixin replied to Zhu Lingling, Sister Ling, your status seems to be declining now. Poor thing. At this moment, Su Yu was having the last executive meeting at Imperial Star's headquarters. He set up Weibo so that as soon as Huamin posted something, he would immediately be notified. About the last project before the end of the year, Su Yu was halfway through his sentence when he heard a notification from his phone. He looked down and saw that there was a new update on Weibo, so he looked down and unlocked his phone. He opened Weibo and saw Huamin's latest post. In the photo, the girl was smiling like a flower. For some reason, Su Yu was in a good mood. He felt like his heart was about to melt from Huamin's cuteness. President Su, what did you mean just now? The vice president beside him wasn't afraid of death. He nervously asked Su Yu what he didn't finish. Chapter 1319. What I meant was that everyone should take a good vacation first. We'll continue our discussion on the 8th of January. Okay, everyone, the meeting is over. Remember to go to the finance department to get your year-end bonus before you leave. That's all. After speaking, Su Yu picked up his phone and turned around to leave. Everyone was dumbfounded. Someone suddenly said, President Su seems to be in a good mood. What was that message on his phone just now? Did he win the lottery? Sky Blessing Court. The 4 of them happily finished their meal. Qin Chu had to go back to the company in the afternoon to deal with some work. Before he left, Huamin walked him to the entrance of his neighborhood. The two chatted as they walked. Honey, what do you think, should we do on New Year's Eve? I thought Zhixin wouldn't come back, so I wanted to spend time with my mom. Now that he's back, should we go back to your place? You decide. Qin Chu didn't really care about this. It didn't matter whose house they were at, they were all family. Huamin thought hard for a few seconds and then slowly said, how about this? We'll go to your place first. After eating dumplings and setting off firecrackers, we'll go back to my place. Since my mom and Zhixin sleep late, the 4 of us can play poker or something. What do you think? Sure. Qin Chu nodded, indicating that he didn't have any objections. Then, Qin Chu drove away and went to the company. Huamin walked back. The truth was, she had thought about why the 2 families couldn't spend New Year's Eve together. But first, if her mother and Zhixin went to the Qin family's house, they would be a bit reserved. Everyone knew that if they didn't spend New Year's Eve at their own home, they wouldn't feel a sense of belonging. She couldn't let the Qin family's parents come to Sky Blessing Court either. That was unrealistic. The main reason was that there was a deep misunderstanding between the Liang family, especially between Huamin's mother and Qin Chu's mother. It was also mixed with the knot in their hearts when Jingde died. Therefore, Huamin didn't want the Liang family to be together. The only solution was to have one family for the first half of the night and another for the second half of the night. When Huamin came back, he told his mother and Zhixin his idea. They obviously didn't have any objections. Mian, I have something to tell you. As they sat in the living room eating fruits, Yang Meirong suddenly spoke. Go ahead, Ma. Huamin peeled an orange and spoke with his head lowered. 2 days ago, Xiuping came to my house and bought me some fruits. She said she was going home for the new year and wanted to see me in advance. Oh? What did she buy? Huamin was more serious. I bought some apples. Yang Meirong was a little embarrassed. Yang Xiuping had indeed only brought 3 apples and nothing else. He even called it a New Year greeting to his aunt. Huamin understood the gist of the matter from his mother's tone. Huamin asked again, how much did you give her in the red packet? Yang Meirong raised her index finger. 100 yuan? Jixin asked. Yang Meirong fell silent. Huamin straightened his back and corrected her. It's $1,000. Okay. Yang Meirong nodded. What? $1,000? Mom, why did you give her so much? She came here with 3 rotten apples, and you gave her $1,000? Jixin didn't have a good impression of his uncle's family, so he was furious when he heard that his mother gave him $1,000. Huamin, on the other hand, was very calm as he continued to ask, that's not all. Did you buy things for uncle and the others? Huamin knew his mother well. Xiuping specifically said that she was going back to her hometown for the new year. Yang Meirong missed her only family, so she must have bought a lot of things. Yang Meirong nodded. Yeah, I bought some beef and lamb for them, as well as some vegetables that they don't sell in my hometown. That's not all. I saw that the bird's nest donkey hide gelatin my brother-in-law gave you before is gone, Jixin interrupted. Chapter 1320. Yang Meirong was a little embarrassed. I thought I wouldn't be able to finish it, so I gave it to your aunt. Why don't you remember how they treated our family back then? Jixin was a little angry. Forget it, Jixin, I gave it to you. It's okay, these things aren't important. Huamian, on the other hand, was more open-minded and thought that her mother was doing this out of consideration for her family. Mom, you're so nice to them, will they appreciate it? This was what Huamin was most worried about. His uncle's family was very weird and snobbish. If you had money, you'd be nice to them, but if you didn't, you'd stay away. I don't want them to appreciate it. Your grandparents are already dead, and your uncle is my only family other than you and your sister. I know, it's okay, Mom. It's okay if you gave it to them. Huamin then gave Jixin a look, telling him to stop blaming his mother. Jixin listened to his sister, so he didn't say anything. After working for an entire year, President Wu specially allowed Huamin to take 5 days off during the Chinese New Year holiday. They took a break from the 29th of the lunar calendar until the 3rd day of the lunar calendar. Huamin was very satisfied. The housekeeper and maids at South Hill Manor were also on vacation, and Huamin gave them half a month of paid leave. Perhaps it was because Huamin was poor when he was young, so he paid extra attention to Chinese New Year. In the past, his mother would only be willing to spend money on new clothes and food for him and Jixin during Chinese New Year. Gradually, this became a traditional habit. On Chinese New Year's Eve, Huamin wore a bright red short jacket, black tights, and red mid-length boots. He also wore a black beret. He looked very girly and extremely cute. Qinshu's outfit was even funnier. It was also chosen by Huamin, and it was a red jacket. Qinshu usually wore formal wear and rarely dressed so casually. She and Huamin got a couple's design. They were both bright red. Perhaps it was also to set off the spring festival atmosphere. Then, there was a black casual shirt and black casual pants, red and black. It was always the most beautiful and classic combination. When the young couple dressed like this, they actually looked like newlyweds who were about to return home. It was especially joyous. Huamin did not forget to show off his love for her, and the two of them took a photo together. Then he posted it on his WeChat Moments and Weibo. Huamin instantly exploded. Oh my god, is that Mr. Qin? He's so cute. It's my first time seeing him in red. Wow, Mr. Qin even knows how to act cute when taking photos. Look at those innocent eyes. Miss Hua, please let go of Mr. Qin. Let me. Mr. Qin and Mrs. Hua are showing off their love, but I have to swallow it with tears in my eyes, because it's too damn touching. Huamin, I've always liked you. When I see people calling you arrogant and pretentious, I laugh. No matter how arrogant and pretentious you are, you're still better than those scheming bitches who pretend to be pretentious. What matters is our character. I'm your loyal fan, and I'll always support you. Dr. Hua, can someone with neurasthenia eat walnuts to nourish their brain? Or do they have to take sleeping pills? Qin Chu and Hua Mian are my favorite couple. They're low-key and don't create hype. I love them. Mian, I heard you guys started dating in high school. Huh, so it's not a sin to date early. Lord Jesus, please give me a husband like President Qin. Everyone says that Hua Min is lucky to have President Qin's love. But think about it. Mian isn't bad either, okay? She's a rare genius. If she was as ordinary as a glass of water, would Mr. Qin still love her? So, don't say that Mian is dating someone of a higher status. We don't know who's dating who. True fans, please leave this comment. Gossip, I heard that President Su from Imperial Star has been courting Mian, but she rejected him. Is that true? Hua Min is shameless. He's trash. He's not as pretty as my song Goddess, an anti-fan said. Then, another loyal fan replied, did you forget to take your medicine when you left home? Hua Min read these comments and almost burst out laughing. Honey, what are you looking at? Why are you laughing? Qin Chu looked at Hua Min curiously as he drove. Chapter 1321. Hua Min laughed as he held up his phone. Look at the comments on Weibo, these people are so talented. Qin Chu smiled dotingly. Hua Min rarely showed off their love because back then, she and Qin Chu had a secret marriage. She didn't want to hurt too many people's feelings, so she chose to keep it a secret. Now, she announced it to the world. Just a few days ago, she won the snooker championship and secured a 3-year contract for GK. All the major media outlets in the city were reporting on it, and many of them wanted to interview the couple. However, Qin Chu rejected all of them because he didn't want Hua Min to appear in the limelight too often. Hua Min didn't want to be too high-profile either. She wasn't a celebrity, so why should she appear in the limelight so often? The couple bought a lot of things and drove straight to the Qin Manor. Qin Chu's parents were in a great mood, and the nanny went home early. Hua Min followed his mother-in-law into the kitchen to prepare lunch. Hua Min carefully prepared new clothes for his in-laws. Inside the kitchen, Lady Qin wore a red traditional Chinese jacket and looked especially festive. She held onto Hua Min's hand affectionately. It's freezing outside, you must be cold driving here. No, I'm not cold. Hua Min smiled. Drink this bowl of red dates and lotus seeds first. I made it early in the morning, it's good for your pregnancy. Thanks, Mom. Hua Min obediently took the bowl and sipped it. Her mother-in-law meant well, and it was normal for her to be anxious about her pregnancy. Ever since the last fortune-telling session with her mother-in-law, Lady Qin seemed to care even more about her pregnancy. She kept thinking that her babies were coming soon, and that there would be more than one. She would talk to Qin Chu's father about this every morning when she woke up. She was obsessed. It was obvious that she wanted grandchildren. Hua Min helped her wash and cut the vegetables, and Lady Qin made 10 dishes. It was rare to see her in the kitchen, but the food she made was exceptionally delicious. The couple stayed until 10 o'clock in the evening. They ate a few dumplings and set off firecrackers before leaving. The coins in the Qin family's dumplings were eaten by Lady Qin. Qin Chu laughed and said, "My mom is still the luckiest." Before they left, the 2 elders of the Qin family took out 2 big red packets, one for Qin Chu and the other for Hua Min. Mom, there's no need for that, right? Lady Qin smiled. Take it. It's a custom. It's festive. With the red packets in hand, the 2 of them got into the car and left the Qin family. Qin Chu directly handed his share to Hua Min. Honey, I'll keep it for you. Hua Min smiled and opened it to take a peek. There was actually 50,000 yuan inside. No wonder it was so thick. Hua Min had earned another 100,000 yuan. His parents-in-law were really rich. At this moment, his phone rang with a notification. Hua Min turned on her phone. Obviously, Zhu Lingling sent him a red packet. Hua Min opened it and saw that it was 188. 88. It said, Happy New Year, girl. Then, one after another, she received red packets from her colleagues, her assistant, Jixin and Gao Ran. There was even a red packet from President Wu. President Wu was generous and directly transferred 8,888 yuan to her via WeChat. Qin Chu glanced at it and smiled. Wu Zhongxing is too stingy. He should have at least sent 88,000 yuan. Huamin pursed her lips and smiled. She pinched Qin Chu's nose. Honey, you can't be so greedy. I'm the only one who can get President Wu's money. Pa, I swear, other doctors don't have that much. Huamin's guess was right. Other doctors didn't have that much money, they didn't even have that much. They even took the initiative to send it to President Wu, therefore, Huamin was an exception. Over the past year, Huamin had brought about earth-shattering changes to the hospital and made a huge contribution to the reform of Southside. Winning 2 domestic and international awards in a row also made President Wu very proud and superior in the eyes of his peers. The couple was happily chatting when Huamin received another transfer. It was from Huxiqian. It wasn't a lot, but the number was a little sensitive. It was 13,140 yuan, a little over 10,000 yuan. However, the number 1314 was very suspicious. Happy New Year, Mian, Huxiqian added. Huamin felt a little awkward. She clicked on the reject button. She really had no reason to accept 1,314 yuan. This kind of promise was enough for her to give to Qin Chu. What's wrong? Qin Chu asked, seeing that her expression was a little off. Chapter 1322. Huxiqian sent me a red packet. Huamin took out his phone and showed it to Qin Chu. Qin Chu's eyes darkened when he saw the number 13,140. Huxiqian was getting more and more restless. After Huamin rejected it, Huxiqian didn't respond. In the end, Qin Chu didn't say anything. He was still worried that Huamin would feel burdened. However, Huamin could vaguely feel that Huxiqian had changed recently. Ever since he married Song Yisher, this whole thing seemed to have become more and more complicated. Although Huxiqian didn't say anything, the way he looked at Huamin every time, it was very thought-provoking. Don't be scared, it'll be fine. Qin Chu looked at Huamin with worry in his eyes. His right hand tightened around Huamian's left hand. Huamin didn't say anything and leaned his head on Qin Chu's shoulder. It was already 10:40 p.m. when they arrived at Sky Blessing Court. Yang Mirong finished making dumplings and was waiting for the two of them to come so she could cook them. As soon as Qin Chu walked in, Jixin dragged him outside to set off fireworks. The fireworks for both families were provided by GK. There were a lot of them, and they were beautiful. The 3 of them stood at the door and watched for a while. Finally, they went inside to eat. Qin Chu and I were waiting to eat your dumplings, so we weren't full just now. You're greedy. Yang Mirong smiled and picked up another dumpling for Huamin. Mom, you're biased toward sis, I want one too. Jixin pouted like a child. Yang Mirong picked up another dumpling for Jixin, and then picked up another for Qin Chu. Thanks, Mom. Qin Chu was very polite. Ouch, it hurts. Jixin yelled as he took out the only gold coin in his mouth. It was a northern tradition to put gold coins in dumplings. Normal families would use 50 cents instead, and each family would put one in the dumplings. Legend has it that whoever ate it was the luckiest person in the world. It seemed like Jixin was also a lucky person. You ate it again. Huamin pretended to be angry. I'll sell it to you for 100 yuan, what do you think? Jixin flaunted the gold coin. Huamin pouted and pretended to be angry. While he was eating his dumplings, he suddenly hurt. Ouch, that hurts. Huamian froze when she saw the gold coin. Mom, how many did you release? Huamian yelled. Before Yang Mirong could say anything, Qin Chu silently took out the 3rd gold coin from his mouth. One for each of you. I hope that you 3 are the luckiest people in the world, Yang Mirong said slowly. Huamin's eyes were slightly wet. She choked on her tears and couldn't say anything. Her mother was so thoughtful that she thought of putting 3 gold coins in the dumplings. She also secretly made a mark so that when she picked up the dumplings for the 3 of them, she gave each of them a gold coin in the dumplings. Huamin always thought that her mother was the kind of person who didn't care about anything. He didn't expect her to be so meticulous. After dinner, Yang Merong took out 3 big red envelopes and gave one to each of them. Huamin, Happy New Year, Mum. I hope you're healthy. Chu, Happy New Year, Mum. Happiness is always with you. Jixin, Happy New Year, M. I hope you can have a grandchild soon. Huamin, Little brat, why don't you let Mom have a grandchild soon? Huamin protested. Hee, I'm still young. I'll leave this heavy responsibility to sis and brother-in-law. You guys have to work hard. Then, Jixin got up and ran upstairs with the red envelopes. He began texting his classmates on WeChat. Huamin opened the red envelopes and took a peek. 10,000 yuan per person was a lot for her mother. Chu still gave the red envelopes to Huamin for safekeeping. He was a filial husband. Just then, someone knocked on the door. Huamin got up and opened the door in surprise. Hello, is this Miss Huamin's home? You have an urgent delivery, please sign here. The delivery man handed a small box to Huamin. Chapter 1323. During Chinese New Year, many delivery companies were on holiday, leaving only the hard-working delivery companies. Huamin was confused as to who would mail her something during Chinese New Year. Moreover, it was mailed to Sky Blessing Court. Not many people knew her mother's address. Could it be a prank by Gao Ran and Lingling? Huamin held the box nervously. It was a small box, about the size of her palm, and it was square in shape. She hesitated for a long time, not daring to open the box. What's wrong? Chu walked over and hugged Huamin's waist. Honey, can you open it for me? I'm scared. I'm scared of spiders, snakes, cockroaches. Huamin hated pranks the most. Chu couldn't help but laugh. He took the box and slowly opened it. To his surprise, it was a white jade gourd. It was only 3 centimeters tall and was beautifully crafted. The color was beautiful, smooth, and stunning. A gourd? Huamin was a little surprised as she carefully picked up the gourd. It was a gourd dangling from a golden string. It was obviously worn around her neck. Who gave it to you? Huamin curiously searched the box, but she couldn't find a name. There's no name. Chu was curious as well. Huamin shook her head, and she held the white jade gourd in her hand and was at a loss. Gourds were one of the mascots. Because they were homonyms for fortune, many people wore them to ward off evil spirits and ensure their safety. Huamin was very puzzled when she received an unsigned gift on Chinese New Year's Eve. She took a picture and posted it on her WeChat friend circle. She asked who it was, but no one admitted it. It wasn't Gao Ran or Lingling, nor was it Xiao Wei. Not even Hua Xiqin. Could it be Su Yu? Huamin thought about it and sent a private message to Su Yu on Weibo. Are you there? Have you ever given me a New Year's gift? So, are you reminding me to give her a gift? Su Yu sweated. Oh no, I just received a mysterious gift. I want to ask if it's from you? No. Oh, okay. Huamin was about to go offline. She saw that Su Yu had sent a red packet with the words Happy New Year written on it. She wanted to refuse, but then she saw Su Yu say, Take it. It's just a few dollars. It's for luck. Huamin was embarrassed by his words and immediately accepted the red packet. It was indeed only 88. This way, Huamin would feel a little more at ease. She really couldn't accept Su Yu's huge gift. After all, they didn't have such a good relationship. Huamin didn't hide it and showed the record to Chu. Honey, look, it's not Su Yu either. That's weird. Chu kept looking at the gourd. Finally, he said, This thing is priceless. I don't think an ordinary person could afford to give it to her. What do you mean? Huamin didn't know anything about antiques, so she naturally didn't know how much these things were worth. Therefore, she was dumbfounded. This is made of high-quality white jade. The color is very good, and it's flawless. It's the best of the best. And the workmanship, it's definitely not made by an ordinary person. I think it's worth at least 10 million. I'll ask an expert tomorrow. 10 million? Honey, I really don't know who gave it to you. I didn't do anything to hurt you. Huamin looked wronged. Qin Chu pinched her face lovingly and smiled. I know. Wait, let me look at the number on the delivery form and check the logistics information. Huamin scanned the QR code, but in the end, she was disappointed to find that the information couldn't be verified. It was like seeing a ghost. This delivery was like a pie falling from the sky. At the same time, on an island in the South Pacific Ocean, a girl in a yellow beach dress with long hair was at a shooting range by the sea. She held a black pistol aimed at the bullseye and fired continuously. Then, she hit all 10 targets. Boss, drink some water and take a break. The well-built assistant walked up and handed her a bottle of mineral water. The girl unscrewed the cap and took a sip. Then she blinked her big eyes and asked, "Do you think she'll like my New Year's gift?" Chapter 1324. Boss, I'm sure she'll like your gift. Don't flatter me, the girl emphasized. I'm not flattering you. The most important thing is that there's only one white jade gourd in the world. It's priceless. The assistant replied solemnly. The young girl was so amused by him that she couldn't help but laugh. I miss her so much, but Dad won't let me go find her. It's so annoying. The professor is doing it for your own good. The situation is tense right now. What if? I know. It's good to see her living a peaceful and happy life. If she can live a peaceful and happy life like this, it's okay even if I don't want to acknowledge her. Dad and I have had a hard time. We've been homeless all these years, and I really don't want her to be involved in this. She's lucky to have a sister like you. You didn't go find her not because you don't love her, but because you've been protecting her. Forget it, let's not talk about it anymore. It's Chinese New Year. What's wrong with bitch Qiao? Yes. Young Master Qiao wants you to go back within 3 days or else. The assistant stopped mid-sentence. Or else what? The girl turned around and pouted at her assistant. I don't dare to say. I'm afraid you'll kill me, the assistant said guiltily. Say it or else I'll kill you right now. The girl picked up her gun and pointed it at her assistant's head fiercely. Young Master Qiao said, if you don't go back in 3 days, he'll put you on the wanted list. Bitch Qiao is so despicable. Motherfucker. Let him be on the wanted list. I don't believe that even Interpol can't do anything to me. As Interpol's most wanted criminal, she had been traveling around the world peacefully for years. What could bitch Qiao do to her? She turned around and shot again. She didn't even need to aim, but she still hit the bullseye. As the top scholar of West Point and a talented Chinese girl, her marksmanship was among the top 10 in the world. However, someone like her was a weirdo. Unless she wanted to find you, you would never be able to find her. Then, the girl casually threw the gun on the ground, grabbed the scarf her assistant handed her, put it on, and left. The spring festival that he had been looking forward to for a year had passed so easily in the blink of an eye. Huamin did not even have the time to watch the spring festival gala properly. Perhaps he was too sleepy. Huamin woke up at 6:00 in the morning on the 4th day of the first lunar month. Qin Chu was still asleep. He was too tired recently and could only sleep well when he was with Huamin. Huamin opened the drawer again and took out the white jade gourd to study. Qin Chu had already asked an expert to appraise it, and the result was very surprising. It was said that this was a gift from a certain prince of the Han dynasty to his beloved princess. Later, it was buried in the ancient tomb as a funerary object. Many years later, it was stolen by grave robbers and then drifted overseas. 3 years ago, it was bought by an unknown mysterious buyer at a well-known auction house in Athens. At that time, the price was $120 million per pair. In other words, it would cost 720 million yuan, which was a sky-high price. What blue and white porcelain? Tang tricolor was simply too weak, okay? The reason why it was priceless was not only because the owner of the white jade gourd was a princess of the Han dynasty. The most important reason was that this piece of jade was rare and priceless. Moreover, it was polished by the most famous craftsman of the Han dynasty. It was a rare treasure that was priceless. Qin Chu later laughed and said, "Honey, you're a rich woman now. I'm going to pay you in the future." Huamian had never imagined that she would become a billionaire all of a sudden. This white jade gourd was actually a pear, but she received one. So, the other gourd was still in the hands of the person who gave her the gift? Then, who was that person? You're tuning in to the Wang Lin's Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.